Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The mayor has called the meeting to order. Mayor Roscoe. Present. Councilmember Bracken. Councilmember Kaplan.
Here.
Councilmember London is not with us at the moment. Vice Mayor Sardinius. Here. Councilmember Stoner.
Here.
Councilmember Vasquez.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, we do have a quorum. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have an invocation this evening from Reverend Felipe Assis, Crossbridge Church, Key Biscayne, via Zoom.
Good evening, Mayor Roscoe and dear council members. I want to open this invocation by sharing with you a passage from the letter written by the Apostle Paul to his apprentice Timothy. This passage is found in 1 Timothy 2, verses 1, 2, and 3. These are the words of Scripture. I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. For this is good and pleases our God and Savior. And it's because of this biblical commandment that I join you in prayer. So will you pray with me? Heavenly Father, we come before you today with gratitude for the opportunity to gather in the service of this community. We recognize that every good gift comes from you and that the privilege of self-government carries both responsibility and trust. So today we pray for the members of this council, for the city staff, for the first responders, educators, community leaders, and all those entrusted with serving the public. Grant them the wisdom to make sound decisions, courage to do what is right, and humility to listen well, and integrity to lead faithfully. Lord Jesus, help these leaders to seek the common good above their own personal interests. Give them clarity in moments of complexity, patience in times of disagreement, and compassion for the people whose lives are affected by their decision. May their work promote justice, safety, opportunity, and the flourishing of every resident in Key Biscayne. We also pray for the city of Key Biscayne. We pray that you would strengthen our neighborhoods, that you would bless our families, that you would protect our children, and that you would care for those who are struggling, lonely, or in need this very moment. Help us to be a people marked by mutual respect, civic responsibility, and a shared commitment to the well-being of one another. As this meeting begins, we pray that every discussion would be guided by wisdom and every decision be shaped by discernment and every action reflect a sincere desire to serve. We ask these things with gratitude and humility in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. That was Reverend Felipe Assis from Crossbridge Church in Key Biscayne.
Next item, Mr. Mayor, brief comments by council.
Oh, we can talk later.
I have some comments, some
Yes.
announcements.
Go ahead.
I would first like to thank Paddle PADL, and in particular their proprietors, Andres Aveo, Khalil Corey, and Felipe Hardegui, 3 born and bred Key Rats, who answered the call when the Disability Board and Todd requested their help. In true Key Biscayne fashion, they agreed to help our community by storing the new beach wheelchair at their paddle site at the beach park. And they're going one step further to facilitate the ease of access to the wheelchair. They are devising a locking system so that the people who would like to use the chair can just go there, have a remote method to unlock it, and get right out and enjoy the beach. And I just am so proud of these 3 young men who are products of our wonderful community. I also would like to thank Chief Joe Fernandez and Deputy Chief Dan Feeney, who were immediately supportive in response to the Disability Board's request to have a viewing space at the fire station for residents with special needs for the 4th of July fireworks. There are a lot of events that we all enjoy that some others have a little more challenge to take part in, and our fire department recognizes that and immediately said, yes, how can we help you? And they've done everything they could. So we really appreciate their empathy and their kindness. And lastly, I just want to let you know that on the 4th of July, guests with autism and sensory-related needs can enjoy fireworks at an event that the Disability Advisory Board will be hosting, staffed by the STARS program, which runs the Beacon of Hope camps here. And there will be a float in the parade that the Disability Board will be on to raise awareness of their organization. So thank you, everybody.
That's great news. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Next item is public comments.
Okay, I'm starting with Ed Stone.
Good evening. My name's Edward Stone, a longtime resident of Key Biscayne,
And your address,
355
I'm sorry.
Harbor Lane.
Sorry.
Good evening. I'm here to discuss a series of ongoing permitting, inspection, enforcement, and administrative process concerns associated with pre-construction near our home. Over the past 9 months, I've worked in good faith with the village's permitting, inspection, enforcement, and public records process in an effort to resolve ongoing administrative concerns. My concern at this point is not simply private disagreement between neighbors. My concern is consistency, transparency, and accountability of the administrative process itself. Over time, there have been shifting determinations, revised reviews, unresolved code enforcement questions, delayed public record responses, missing special magistrate postings, and conflicting explanations regarding enforcement and permitting activities. Approximately 4 weeks ago, I provided the mayor and council, along with the village manager, a summary packet outlining a number of administrative process concerns with specific examples. To date, even after a follow-up email, I have not received any acknowledgement providing whether those materials were reviewed or received. I no longer believe these concerns are limited to a single individual. Similar concerns regarding communication, consistency, responsiveness, and confidence in administrative decision-making have been raised by residents, and it affects the public trust in the process. I'm also concerned about the broader governance and transparency questions that can arise when overlapping professional relationships or administrative involvement creates the appearance of inconsistency. Public confidence depends not only on fair outcomes, but also on the confidence in the process used to reach them. I'm not asking the council to resolve a private civil dispute. I'm asking for transparency, procedural consistency, accountability, and confidence that the village's permitting, inspection, enforcement, and public record process are administered fairly and consistently. I would welcome the opportunity to meet with the mayor or council to better understand how these administrative concerns can be reviewed and addressed. I truly thank you for your dedication, your service, and support to our island.
Thank you. Next speaker, Christine Biggers.
Hello, my name is Christine Biggers, 526 Allendale Road, also Zone 1, better known as Zone 1. I have a couple of things I wanted to bring up tonight. The first is the issue with FPL. May 28th, I got up to make coffee around 7:45, 7:50, put the pot in, flicker of electricity. So that I had to reset everything, same process, no coffee. I'm not good without coffee. So I get in my golf cart, I drive down to the substation to see what the heck is going on because someone told me that's where you go. And nobody was down there. So then coming back into the village, I noticed a lot of activity around Fernwood and Harbor. And lo and behold, 3 FPL trucks were sitting there three guys outside, kind of raining, looking up at the pole, and I said, "What's going on?" "Oh, a switch went out." I'm like, "A switch? So what are we doing?" Well, 3 hours later, I guess the switch got fixed. But my concern is that I don't know, I don't know that they're necessarily picking on Key Biscayne, but it sure does feel like it. I have friends in Coral Gables, Pinecrest, Coconut Grove. No one seems to have these issues. So they also said to me that undergrounding isn't going to solve our problems, but I have to believe that it will to some extent. We won't have the trees hitting the lines. We won't have the rain pounding everything. So I just wanted to say that whatever we need to do to continue to move forward with this undergrounding, I know we have to involve Comcast and AT&T, but the sooner we can do that, the better. So that's the first item. The second one is the council's approval of moving forward with the GIT company for our water resiliency project. As I mentioned, I'm in Zone 1, and I very often walk from the community center back to my house. And very often, like our school kids also have to walk in 6 inches of water. And I think it's ridiculous. I think we need to move forward with this as quickly as we can. Okay, and then my last thing is, it just happened, so I know our finance executive is probably working on this. But I'm very concerned about this petition, or this amendment that's gone in front, that will be up to the voters, that DeSantis is pushing to increase our homestead exemptions. My main concern for this is because it will result in some sort of loss of funding for the village. I'm not so worried about, saving $30 a month or whatever it's going to be to me particularly. But I honestly believe that if we start nickel and diming people in the village for the services that we now so lovingly get, specifically around Rex and the community center, and also village maintenance. To me, I'm retired, and many of you know that I'm like a very often, is it my 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, okay. Okay, so the only other thing I want to say, and this is the good news. I was walking, a lot of you know I walk a lot, and it had just rained a little bit, there was debris on the sidewalk, I almost fell on my butt. It was really dangerous, and I did a KB 311. The next day, our village maintenance guys were out there cleaning the sidewalk. So thank you. And I want to thank all of you people. You guys are great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Karen Bieber Futternick.
Good evening. Karen Bieber, Futternick, 798 Crandon Boulevard. Most of you know I'm on the Sustainability Advisory Board, but I'm here this evening speaking to you as a resident. I'm here to ask you to please direct the village manager to withhold the waste RFP until the Sustainability Advisory Board can discuss this, can make our recommendations to Councilmember Bracken, and then he can discuss with you so that you can then carry forward any recommendations that you have to the manager and staff as you determine best. We received the RFP last week. It's 95 pages. It's a very big, very important contract, and an even bigger, more important conversation that we really need to have about how this village approaches our waste management. And this contract is for potentially 10 years. So it's really significant and really important. Even before receiving the RFP, we've been working very hard on what this conversation should look like. We have smart, resourceful, very dedicated people on our board, and we have a lot to say, and we have good things and important things to say, but we need the ability to discuss and then to present to Councilmember Bracken so that he can make the recommendation again to you and to the manager. The village manager's self-imposed date of July 1st to submit the RFP does not let us do our job, and it doesn't let you do yours. I'm not asking for an interminable delay, 2 months. You don't even meet again until the end of August. It's very common to go month to month. There are many municipalities that are doing it. It's not cost prohibitive, and it's very common. Anyway, this needs open discussion. We need to determine what's best for our island, and this can happen in the public space with our board, with our liaison, and with you. So please direct the village manager to withhold that RFP until that can happen. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Luis de la Cruz.
Luis de la Cruz, 640 Allendale Road, Key Biscayne, Florida. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Mr. Manager. So I'm here to talk about item 10A, which is your resolutions that this one has to do with a consent to use agreement with Ocean Club Community. And it's not the actual agreement itself that I'm concerned about, but when you read in between the lines as to what's going on. Evidently, I've heard many times discussion either in the ad hoc committee or in at different times that you all were thinking about not requiring generators for the pumps that are being installed. Well, here we go with this one. So if you look at this particular item, you'll see that the village is proposing an area of 11 feet wide, 19 feet long, and 14 feet high to install generators for something that will never be used, in all sincerity. And if you read Exhibit B, it says, maintenance testing will comply with village code, which allows generators to run for maintenance between 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The generator will run no more than 40 minutes once a week for maintenance. I promise you. That's the only time these generators are going to run. The chances of you needing a generator at the same time that the pumps need to run are so infinitesimal that we would need a mathematician from this village to come and tell us about it. It will never be used. And there'll be horrendous structures. And if you do this one, then of course you're going to try to do the other ones throughout the GIT project. And that's just, it's not necessary. It's a huge waste of money. And you're about to make another mistake, another preventable mistake. The last time I stood, up here 2 years ago, I told you about the mistakes you were making with the ACOM. You kept going with it, spent a whole lot of money on it, and you finally came to your senses, and we went back to square one. You're going to make another mistake here. You're going to install something that is never going to be used except for maintenance. It's going to be used once a week, going to make all the loud noise. It's expensive, even if we get grants to build these up there. But at the end of the day, grants are also tax money. Whether it's our tax money from the Village of Key Biscayne or tax money from the county or the state or from somewhere, it's money that belongs to the taxpayers. Let's not waste our money. Please don't waste our money. Please don't make this mistake again. Please don't install something that we never use. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
I'm sorry?
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, Steve Olmore.
Thank you. I'm a longtime resident of Key Biscayne, at least 25 years in the same place, okay? So I've watched
Your
a lot
name
of...
and address, sir, I'm sorry.
my
Your
name's
name
Stephen
and
Olmore, what?
address. And your address.
My address?
Yes,
575 Crandon Boulevard, Key Biscayne.
thank you.
Okay. Phone number necessary?
No.
Okay. All right. Got me off track. But anyway, it doesn't make any difference. I've seen the alarming rate of sea level rise increasing lately, more than I was shocked to see, frankly, in the areas of Bear Cut, and thinking of doing any project, civil project on this island requires, I think, a little deeper look at the tectonic, geologic, water table, structures, everything going on at the same time. And if you're thinking of doing a project, I suggest you do it with a very strong feasibility study that covers all these details and puts a better perspective on what ought to be done with good engineering, okay? And maybe this company, FSV, is great. Maybe they've done that. But I can't find anybody, either professionally, on the key, or off the key, that seems to know what's going on with this island. I think there's some significant things to be considered. That's all I want to say, and I hope you do consider them in this before you start spending money, because you might have to spend a lot more. It's going to be very expensive, in my view. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, Marcelo Radice.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mayor Roscoe and Village Council. My name is Marcelo Radice. I'm the Executive Director for the Key Biscayne Soccer Club. I live at 70 Bay Heights Drive, Miami, Florida. And I wanted to come tonight because I guess we're on the agenda this evening to discuss the First Amendment, so I thought it'd be a good time for us to kind of just give you kind of a quick synopsis of how our year went and highlight some of those milestones for you. First, I'm sorry that we couldn't be here tonight with our girls. Unfortunately, we were going to have our girls U13 team, but unfortunately, vacation has hit, and 10 to 11 of the girls were not available. They couldn't make it tonight, so I'm glad Steve was able to move the date for August when we can celebrate with them. A huge accomplishment. They were state champions, and they were the first team in 16 years to win the state championship for the club. So that's very exciting. So let me start by highlighting, our season and talking a little bit first about our intramural program and what happened this year with the intramural program. We made history. We wanted to, this year what we did was we implemented a 9-month program this year with 9 cycles, which focused really on training, a progressive training program, where we at the same time we rotated our coaches every month. So it allowed our coaches to meet with, play, and teach different players throughout the season. It was something new and I think innovative for us, so that we wouldn't have a parent get too attached to a particular coach throughout the whole season. This was a great opportunity for family to come together. We had 450 kids that participated in our program, and we have their Friday night intramural games on Friday nights, and families come together, they enjoy those games, they celebrate, they make friends, the kids make friends, and we make an impact with the community. The intramural program is really a foundation, it's the key foundation for our club. It brings together, like I said, it's the first step in the pathway for competitive development. Each year, about 10% of our players move on, those that excel in the sport and get selected to move on, and they want to play at the competitive level. The remaining kids continue to play in recreational sports, so we give them that option to stay all the way till the age of 14 if they want to play in a more relaxed environment and they don't want to go over to the competitive side. So this is something that we offer within the intramural program. In addition, this year I wanted to highlight some of the things that we did that you maybe don't hear about. We organize friendly matches within ourselves, with parents. We do we do barbecues. We created a job opportunity program for kids ages 14 and over, so that they could train and become certified as referees. And then finally, they also participated to get community hours with the Lighthouse Run, cleanup, clothing drives, the island cleanups, and they worked together. We're working on a project to institute a thing called Top Soccer, where we'll be able to teach and coach kids with special needs. So what I wanted to wrap up, since that buzzer just went off, is that our competitive program is excelling, and it's doing very well. We have competitive levels where kids can play according to their level. It's excelling. It's doing well, both on the girls and the boys side. A huge milestone this year was being selected to be an MLS Academy team, and so we're excited about that. And then finally, I just wanted to reiterate in terms of our corporate structure. Although we are a C Corp, we operate as a nonprofit. almost in the sense that we operate at a break even, zero-based budget. We don't mark up uniforms, we don't mark up equipment, technology, everything we pass the same cost over to our members. And next year, we will be able to generate probably close to $400,000 in revenue for the Village of Key Biscayne, so that will go towards their reserves for field maintenance, and we're excited about that contribution that we'll make. We're incredibly excited about next year and the chapter that's ahead of us, and we look forward to collaborating with the village every step of the way, as we always do, so that we can improve our processes, improve our programs, make it affordable, create value, and more importantly, be an important part of the KB community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Ceci Sanchez.
Cecile Sanchez, 260 Cypress Drive. Good evening, Council. I come to ask again regarding Bumpy Park, Marilyn Monroe Park, whatever you want to call it, that little sliver of park that really was untended until the landscaping committee started asking questions. Who does this belong to? Why is it in an unkept condition? And with Todd's idea about the bumps and Mercedes Porcari's talent, we were able to create a little, I think, a jewel of a park there. I don't know, the powers that be here decided that that's where they want to put this contraption that Luis talked about. You're going to destroy the park. You're going to put something that is 11 feet wide, 14 feet high there. First of all, you're killing any breeze in the summer that tries to come. You have this block. Why there? Why are you doing this? We were told that we were having a park on Harbor Drive. Didn't happen. What happened? Supposed to be what? We still don't know. Who uses that park? Very unattractive. We have a little park that people use. Now you're going to put this thing there. You're going to start killing some more trees. That's how your little carts are able to go through there and then enter the beach park. This thing is going to be there. Why there? I tried to ask Jeremy, can you find another place? I started measuring places. He said, no, that's all set. Why is it all set? Why do you have to? First of all, why do we have to do this, like Luis says? Can we slow down? Can we take care of what we have and maintain it before we start spending more money in something else? I don't understand it, but I am here for the trees and the park and the people that go there. People go there with their dogs. The kids like to play in those hills, if you want to call it. And now that is all going to go into under construction, and who knows what's going to happen afterwards. You have parking, 2 less parking places, 3 parking places that you can take. It's our parking, public parking, even though by our people and Galen Breakers think they own it. But put the contraption there if you need to put it, but don't mess with our parks, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Carla Ompierre.
Good evening. My name is Carla Ompierre Cantalapiedra. I live in 412 Warren Lane. I have been a parent of the Key Biscayne Soccer Club for the last 12 years. I'm here to talk about something that I don't even know why it's in discussion with the village, but with a proposed amendment of, I think, very one or two parents that put a proposed amendment that is taken very seriously to monitor playing time and minutes per game of the teams. The points are this creates a very unnecessary administrative cost, tracking the playing times, the minutes. It also places the village in the position of regulating coaching decisions. Competitive soccer, we have many levels in the Key Biscayne Soccer Club. There's A, B, C, D, and also recreational. So this is a rule that you guys, that it's put forth that would include the most competitive level, which is the elite and the B team. Some kids put a lot of effort in attendance. They put effort, they practice to get better so that the teams can get better. And what this will do, some kids that don't show to practice, that don't take it seriously, would be considered and have the same playing times as everybody else. My experience, also I want to put forth why the Key Biscayne Soccer Club is signaled out to make this, to follow this rule when the other sports don't have to follow it, like basketball, softball. Last month, my kid was in the basketball league, and he didn't play the same time as everybody else. There were kids that played the whole game, and in the final, he played 10 minutes, which for me was perfectly fine because you know what? The other kids were better at basketball, and he was super happy that his team won. And during the other games, he played more time, you know? So we are teaching our kids you are all equal. You can all, doesn't matter if you study for a test or you don't study for a test, you all get A's and you all get the same importance. And that shouldn't be, you know? That's why we have an A team, an elite team, and then we have a B, a C, and a more developmental levels. So, I mean, I'm very tired of this Key Biscayne attitude of, you know, let's just be happy. Everybody's happy, all the kids, you know. No, kids have to put effort. They have to practice, they have to study, and they have to do well. That's my time, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's be happy. Okay. David Rodriguez Fraile.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. David Rodriguez Fraile, 220 Harbor Drive. My wife, Nuria de la Fuente, 220 Harbor Drive. I've been at the Key Biscayne Soccer Club for 6 years. I have never seen a kid not put effort into any practice, into any games. I will resist the urge to respond directly to the previous speaker, and I will just focus on something else that we wanted to discuss today. We wanted to make some comments regarding the amendment, but before we do so, we want to begin with a few simple principles that frame why this matters. Soccer is the largest youth program that we officially sponsor in our village. It operates on public fields, it carries our village's identity, and it depends on community resources. As such, it must be guided by community values, transparency, and age-appropriate development for our children. Youth sports serve as character infrastructure for our community because positive experiences lead to stronger academic outcomes, healthier life choices, and deeper community connections. Getting the early years right matters enormously because childhood happens only once. Our children go through each stage of their life only one time. They don't get do-overs, and we have no higher responsibility than protecting that process. Youth soccer is not a mystery or an unsolved problem. It has been studied, perfected, and standardized globally for decades. Guidelines and best practices exist for a reason. The responsibility of any operator on our public fields is not to reinterpret or selectively apply those standards, it is to follow them. Now, with regards to the amendment, it addresses two major areas. First, it formally codifies player development guidelines. One important reminder as we use the word player, we are talking about children, not adults. Youth soccer mirrors our education system. We don't teach elementary students the same way we teach middle school, high school, or college students, because children's developmental needs are completely different at each stage. The approach, the methods, the environment, All of it is calibrated to a student's age. Soccer requires the exact same distinction. There are well-established guidelines regarding how young children should be coached, managed, and communicated with at different ages. You cannot simply copy an approach designed for professional adults that play on TV for millions of dollars and then paste it onto teams of 8, 9, and 10-year-old children. Doing so is not supported by any research, any science, any credible soccer experts, any credible coach framework, or any global best practice anywhere. It simply does not exist. In fact, every credible framework points in exactly the opposite direction. Nobody is arguing against competitive match experiences. They are valuable and important. The question is what competition should look like at different ages, and what conditions must exist before, during, and after those matches to make them developmentally productive. That is why clear player development guidelines matter. The priorities, the approach, and the team management must fit the age, always. These basic principles were simply not being respected or followed in our own community. Second, the amendment strengthens processes. Having a defined process does two things. First, it creates the right environment for everybody involved. And second, having a process occupies space, space that would otherwise be a vacuum. And vacuums do not remain vacuums. They get filled. And what fills that vacuum are informal networks and informal dynamics that are inevitably inconsistent, uncertain, relationship-driven, and difficult for most families to navigate fairly. This program should exist to give
David, you need to wrap up.
This program should exist to give as many community children as possible a meaningful and appropriate developmental experience. None of this is abstract. At the end of every governance decision, there is a child on a field, on our public fields. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Michelle Esteves.
Michelle Esteves, 425 Great Tree Drive, 204. I'm here publicly speaking, and thank you, Village Manager, for the support of this past Friday barbecue. Recreation Department, Todd and his team, and of course the Key Biscayne Community Foundation and Andrew Britton. It was a great success, especially with the exchange of those collection cards for the soccer. But that is supposed to be for kids, I guess. But the ones that they enjoy the most and the one that they are more fanatic is the parents. That was very cute to see them, how they show up with the list and everything. The barbecue was extremely successful. It's the kickoff. That 250 and the illumination in Crandon, I don't know who is the responsible for that piece of art, but it's beautiful to see it there. And also the Key Biscayne 4th of July parade will designate a tent right across from the review stand for disabled people, wheelchairs, and anybody that have needs. It will be marked with the handicap label around so they can have a special view there at the parade. And we are ready. We're getting ready. We have 4 bands this year, so it's going to be very difficult to do the lineup because if everybody else bring music, I don't know how we're going to accommodate the bands. We have the T-shirts for sale. This year is a collection item. They are $50 each shirts. The kids, they are $25. And they are not many, so that's why it's a limited edition. They are for sale at the community center. We're going to be the last Saturday at the Winn-Dixie with whatever shirts are left. And probably we're going to be one Saturday at the farmer market, and that's going to be it. So we are getting ready. We are doing our last minutes preparation for the parade, and I hope to see everybody there. Thank you.
Can we see that for a second? Because you pointed it that way. I'd love to see the shirt.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. We're looking that way.
Yes.
Okay, good. Then I'm good.
Yes,
Thank you.
Great job, as always. Thank you. Thank you, and to the whole committee, Michelle. All right, Madam Clerk.
The next item is the agenda. Approval, deferrals, additions, deletions, substitutions, and withdrawals.
I have an addition, couple of additions. First, I'd like to have an addition, the item that was recently discussed about solid waste. I want to add a quick discussion item on that. I'd like to get from the administration the status and what the resident was concerned about specifically. I'd like to know, and also give an opportunity for Mike Bracken, who's the chairs that committee, to be in attendance as well and to hear him out. I also want to introduce an item for discussion, Key Biscayne and Miami regional growth impacts, specifically when it comes up to the massive airport expansion that's happening right now, $9 billion. We anticipate millions of passengers and the expansion of the port as well, where I'm already starting to see more ships than I actually care to see in the horizon. I know we're talking about the big dig, the small dig, but let's talk about the big hub, because that's what Miami's going to be, and Key Biscayne is going to have a problem if we don't really start having some representation out there. So those are my two items.
Okay.
I have an addition item. I'd like to discuss a code of conduct for village activities, programs, and premises.
I'm sorry, code of conduct for village activities?
Programs and premises.
Okay.
And as mentioned earlier, the special presentation for girls soccer is moving to August
Yes.
due to attendance.
Mayor, I would also like to add under my report discussion on the petition, which was certified on Friday, and the next steps.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Move as amended.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a special presentation, Grand Bay Club and Ritz Tennis Center build-out update.
Before we do that, Mr. Bracken, whoop.
Yes, sir.
Just wanted to commend your zeal in being with us from Germany, is it?
Portugal.
Portugal. Okay. Thank you so much for being with us from far away.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce here Ignacy Puig. I think you recognize him from the work they did at the Ritz. He's from GenCom, and he's going to talk about the new project his team is working on here at the Grand Bay.
And a fellow Key Biscayner, by the way, 861 Harbor Drive. So very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. As you all probably know, we embarked on a major repositioning of the Ritz-Carlton Key Biscayne asset in May of last year. We shut the hotel down and we reopened it in December of last year, and it's been a resounding success. Hopefully you've got a chance to go see the property. And we want to do a very similar repositioning effort for the Grand Bay Club, which we acquired in a structured transaction also in May of 2025, and we've been working diligently over the last X amount of months to bring this to fruition. So very similar to Ritz Key Biscayne. This was built in 1997, 96, I want to say. The Ritz opened in 2001, and it's overdue. It's some of the best real estate on Key Biscayne and probably in Florida, and unfortunately it's been sort of neglected over the years. So I'll just flip through this real quick, and hopefully you can see it. It's a little bit small from there, but let's see. So this is the updated site plan, and I can tell that you're not going to be able to see much from there, but maybe I'll follow up after this.
We have
Oh, perfect, and easy enough. So maybe I'll use the cursor to show you. This is sort of the existing Grand Bay Club. This is where the existing pool is. There's a restaurant and some offices, as well as locker rooms and a kitchen. We are expanding the entire site area into what used to be the 54 existing cabanas into a new fitness center right here. You can see my cursor. A new pool bar that's going to be overlooking the beach and the pool on the north end here. we're leaving this entire area in the middle as the tranquil lawn. The reason for it is because there's a condo building, as you probably know, right in front of it, and we wanted to be respectful of any noise concerns. And then further south, there is going to be a new F&B, food and beverage outlet overlooking the beach, very similar to what we have at the Ritz in Key Biscayne, at Paralia, which used to be Cantina, a new family pool down right behind it, and then a new adult pool, which is on the property line with the Ritz here. This is roughly 600 linear feet of beach frontage, 4.5 acres in total site, including the parking. And I'll flip through some of the renderings here of the new clubhouse. So this is the existing condition on the beach side, on the west side here, and this is the new envisioned. I think I have bigger pictures of here. This is driving onto the clubhouse. The new driveway, porte cochere. Different angle, looking at the clubhouse. This is looking straight east towards the beach. This is from the beach looking west with the new structures on both ends. This is the fitness center, which has bathrooms on this side and then fitness on the other side. This is the clubhouse, which is being extended with a new outdoor seating area. Looking from that trellis structure onto the beach. And then moving down further south to the side, this is the new family pool. And then the new adult pool with some cabanas around it. This is the new F&B outlet, food and beverage outlet on the beach, and some of the cabanas on the adult pool. And that's it. And happy to answer any questions. I think maybe I'll talk a little bit about timing. So we want to, very similar to what we did on the Ritz, we want to make sure that we're utilizing the lower season. Not a lot of people get as much usage from the beach during the summer months. So over the coming months, we will start demo on the cabanas and then really take advantage on the latter half of the year. Hopefully get this reopened in Q1 of 2027.
Okay. And you'll be also able to take care of all the sargassum, right?
All of that is coming included in the scope, yes. No, it is a concern of ours, and I know that you guys are doing a lot of beach restoration, which is also an important concern for us. We're right in the middle of Key Biscayne, and it's the thinnest part of the island, of the beach. So any additional restoration that we can do would be very much appreciated. And as you probably know, the Ritz already contributes to that restoration fund, and we're proud to do so.
What was the duration of the Ritz project, start to finish?
Somewhat of a miracle. We shut it down May 1st, reopened December 8th. So it was almost 8 months.
That's fast work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we had 400 people at any given point moving things around. So
This is a little bit out of left field. The thought of preserving one or two of those cabanas, maybe for historical society,
maybe they'll gain value.
we'll see about that.
Happy to talk about that. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? 95% of all this exists, so it's just moving things around, adding pools, and
correct.
You're not asking for any variance. You're not.
No variances. Everything is as of right, and there's a master consent with all of the tracks within the PUD, both towers, the villas, as well as obviously the Ritz, which we control, and the Beach Club, which we control, around the exact same master plan that I presented.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming and sharing your information with us.
The next item, Mr. Mayor, is the consent agenda.
Move.
Second.
Mayor, before
Thank
we
you.
vote, I just want to, could we just have a motion to allow Councilmember Bracken to join remotely?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Is he back with us? Yet?
It's got to be midnight.
Yes, I'm here, Nancy, loud and
Okay, we
clear.
miss you, Mike.
Tell everybody
you,
what time it
appreciate
is there.
12:30.
All right. Dedication.
We'll have you in bed by 4:30.
Looking good.
Thanks, guys, trying.
I'm sorry, the vote for the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a second reading of an ordinance of the Village of Key Biscayne, Florida, amending ordinance number 2025-15, which adopted the budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 by revising the 2025-2026 fiscal year budget amendment number 3, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Move.
Second.
Thank you.
Public hearing is now open on ordinance 9A. Seeing no one come forward, public hearing is now closed. Any questions on this one? I think we beat it up over the time, but Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Sardinius?
Yes?
Councilmember Stoner?
Yes.
Councilmember Vasquez? Mayor Roscoe?
Yes?
Councilmember Bracken?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaplan?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted on second reading. The next item is a second reading, a capital project authorizing ordinance of the Village of Key Biscayne, Florida, selecting FSV Construction Company for construction of the Key Biscayne Beach Park renovation project in an amount not to exceed $871,083, providing for authorization, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date.
Move.
Second.
Thank you.
Public hearing is now open on 9B. Yeah. Yes. Put your name and address for the record.
My name is Fernando Riojas, 249 East Enid Drive. Regarding that, I was just wondering if the renovation project is for the use of Key Biscayne residents or for public use. Since there's a gate and you need a fob to go in, I'm assuming it's for residents. However, a lot of people, non-residents, are going to the park, using the facilities, not taking care of the park. And I was wondering if there's going to be some enforcement of who can get in and not.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have been working on that, and we'll have the manager address that. But yes, these renovations are for our beach park, and yes, we do everything we can to maintain that. And this is part of what we've been talking about for the last few years about maintaining what we have. So, Mr. Manager, you want to address that?
Sure. So the direct question is the gentleman asking, is that just for Key Biscayne residents? And yes, the area inside the gate is just for Key Biscayne residents. Each resident is given a fob to use. Sometimes some residents leave it open. Sometimes it does malfunction. During increased time, and we will during this summer, be adding a part-time worker over the weekend, so that individual can be right there in the shed at the gate and control that gate. Also, part of this construction is to put time locks also on the bathrooms as well. So we'll be able to control those and shut that down at 10 o'clock when the park shuts down.
Okay.
When we were talking about this, I think a couple meetings ago, the observation was that people are encroaching from the beach, not through the gate, but from the beach. Beach Club has instituted a wristband trying to deal with that. I don't know where our conversation landed in trying to create better protection on the beach side. Any update, any thoughts?
No, we don't have any at this time.
We are working on
Limiting the access to the beach.
we are working on the gate of the public access gate. I was going to ask later on for an update on that. We spoke about that briefly.
Right.
Where people are getting access
to the beach.
By the sands, the public. So that wouldn't stop access during the day, but it would stop after-hours access.
Correct.
Which may not be good enough.
And also, the chief does patrols, especially in the evening, right?
Yeah, mainly, so the Parks Department will man it on the weekends, during the day, and then the police department makes regular patrols during the evenings, usually starting at about, I would imagine, 8 o'clock is when you start, Chief?
So when can I ask a question about that? When
Sure, Chief, why don't you come forward?
well, at least for Parks and Rec, they're going to be there during the day. Are they going to be asking for ID for people to get in? I'm not sure really. If you don't have a fob, if you've left your fob at home or you never got one or whatever, how are we going to try and manage that? I guess that really is what you need to address.
That person's there to address what was discussed earlier about people propping the door open, holding the door open, making sure the door is closed, taking a quick look through the park to see what's happening, but mainly just controlling that access point. That for the access cards we do issue at the community center, we do monitor, we do maintain. I hear Rich do it frequently. They're assigned to a property. If somebody moves off, somebody moves in, he deactivates the existing fobs, and then we'll get a phone call, my fob doesn't work, and then we look up the residents, they don't live there anymore. So it is something that we actively manage to make sure that residents are the only ones that have those fobs.
Chief?
Yeah, so we've instituted weekly, daily, nightly checks, and we actually instituted a plan a week ago that we're running because with school ending, we saw an increase in activity. So we assigned an operational plan where we have officers checking regularly, not only Beach Park, but along Ocean Lane Drive and our other access paths where some of the younger children like to visit from time to time. So we've definitely seen a decrease since that started. So we were proactive after we were reactive at first, but it's been a lot quieter.
It has been because I'm out there every night and I see the cars and I see the police and it's a lot quieter.
I'm glad you're seeing the police. That makes me happy. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Sardinius?
Yes.
Councilmember Stoner?
Yes.
Councilmember Vasquez?
Yes.
Mayor Roscoe?
Yes.
Councilmember Bracken?
Yes.
Councilmember Kaplan?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted on second reading. The next item is a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of Key Biscayne, Florida, approving a consent to use agreement with the Ocean Club Community Association, Inc. to permit the installation of a pump station, backup generator, and electrical platform in a portion of the village's beach park in connection with the village's flood mitigation project, providing for authorization and providing for an effective date.
Move.
Second.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Colleen.
Okay. The Garden District is experiencing flooding frequently, and we have a hazard mitigation grant to construct a drainage system, which includes a pump station and backup generator to alleviate that flooding, particularly on the east side. This consent to use is agreed upon by the HOA of the Ocean Club right next door, who originally deeded that property right outside of the gated part of Beach Park and Beach Park itself to the village. One of the conditions of that dedication was to have it be used for park use. So this consent to use is exclusively allowing us to use this small portion of it for this sort of infrastructure for this project only. And they're totally okay with it. We've worked with them for like 6 months to get the agreement together. So this is just requesting council's approval, and we'll take it to them for signature right after.
Right. And I want to preface, as much as we want to discuss everything about this, tonight and what we have right in front of us is just really something that we've worked out with the Ocean Club, okay? And you will have a shot at looking at whether the generator goes there or doesn't go there, and everything else that goes with that. That's part of a FEMA grant that we're getting. So it's not today about all those details that will come before us.
As long as, I have no problem with that, as long as we have an opportunity to have a decision whether
Yes.
we want to have generators there
Yes.
or not. And what I want to preface it with is the fact that, I mean, generators can work both ways. Obviously, they can help move the water out. The question is their futility, in the sense that I think there's some very good points being brought up, whether it's really necessary to have them there and have these artifacts all throughout our village. I strongly, I have an issue with that because in the past, we tried to do it as well on the beach, and it was difficult. They're just massive structures, and I already see one every day when I walk out. So let's look at that very carefully, very cautiously, and understand whether they're really that valuable as we believe they are, or are they giving us a false sense of security? Let's really investigate that.
To paraphrase, take the liberty of paraphrasing what the mayor said. It is my understanding that all this agreement does is give us the authority to build this if we choose to do that.
Absolutely.
It's not obligating us. I'm just
Right.
saying
No,
it
no,
for
no,
the public
and-
to understand what's happening tonight, because we do get calls after the fact, what happened, and why did you agree to doing something?
And that's a very important point
Right,
that you're saying,
so-
because sometimes things do get confused when we
Right,
talk
so
up
this
here.
is just giving us the right to do that if we choose to go that path,
Understood.
which remains to be
But
determined.
but I want to use this opportunity to talk about Generator City village-wide, here, there, anywhere. Let's understand, because we're not an industrial facility here. We're located
Okay.
Village Goose
One question, just to anticipate. The actual location for the above-ground structure that this consent addresses is within the area in what Councilmember Tainter used to call Dolly Parton Park. To the very, to the right-hand side, looking at the beach, hugging up against the line with the beach club?
Yes, I'm trying to see if I can find I'm gonna zoom in here and see if we can just kind of outline it. So it's a little bit off the page. Oh, are we not presenting?
Council member, if you would imagine, if you're driving into the beach club,
Yeah,
parallel to the road, as you're going down there, would be the injection well pump system. And then perpendicular to the road, but parallel to the wall, so you're creating an L.
yeah.
Okay, she's got it up there.
Thank you.
Would be where the generator would go.
So the driveway to Beach Club's right here, basically. The generator is running along this wall, about 6 feet off the wall, so we can try to keep as much of the planting that's along that wall as possible. It acts as a really good buffer.
And the mounds would be to the left of the
They're-
arrow.
We're gonna not touch the grape tree right here. We're gonna try to avoid touching the mounds as much as possible. We're gonna maintain the vehicle access, the maintenance vehicle access through here. So even the space off the wall plus the width of the generator, and then you're gonna have some space for that maintenance access path. So there's gonna be quite a width there that you're gonna have to move around.
Okay.
Do we have the well there or no?
No, the wells are further west.
I think Exhibit A will show you a little bit better picture.
Yeah,
It's
I don't know
page-
if we
it's
have
page
that.
11 of tab 3, I think it is.
Thank you,
It gives a really
Councilmember.
nice look at what we're
No,
talking
not
about.
tab 3.
Sorry.
5.
Tab 5, yeah. Page 11 of tab 5. That's it.
Yeah.
You're looking at it, Mayor.
Okay.
Does that
Exhibit A-
answer your
Exhibit A.
question?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of Key Biscayne, Florida, approving a voluntary beach renourishment contribution and escrow agreement with the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company, LLC, providing for authorization and providing for an effective date.
Move it.
Second.
Moving second. Mr. Manager, you want to tell everyone what we're doing here?
Sure, why don't I bring Benjamin forward? I'll just do a quick introduction. You heard before, I think the GenCom folks mentioned how important it is to them to make sure that the beach be renourished. And so what we've done is we've set up an agreement with the Ritz, and I'll let Benjamin talk you through what that is and how it'll work.
Great. Just want to clarify first, it is a voluntary agreement. This is not a resort tax, so separate the two. So this is many years in the making of the manager working with the Ritz-Carlton, and some of the timing was developing the right amount and obviously what we could legally do, and also because of their construction and reopening. But the idea is this is a $2 a night on the resort fee, not a tax, that will be set aside and restricted use to do the beach nourishments and non-cycled seasons. So we anticipate, based on occupancy, this could be anywhere between $250,000 to $400,000 annually. And this is part of our broader revenue diversification strategy, where we're looking for outside funds, or we don't have either the ability to tax or desire to tax our residents. We're always looking for other ways to make up the difference to do beach nourishments, which obviously we know are rated high in terms of importance based on our satisfaction survey. So happy to answer any questions about the components of the agreement or the terms.
If I could just add, the agreement provides that we were going to have an escrow agent. After working with the hotel, they would prefer not to have an escrow agent, but have the funds held in a bank account with certain parameters put into place. So you're adopting this in substantially the form attached, but the escrow agent concept will not be in the final form.
So what does that mean, Chad?
So the hotel anticipates that they're going to hold the money in a separate fund, and that they're going to provide the village, I believe, in talking with Steve, a monthly reporting of the funds in that account, as opposed to having a separate escrow agent who would hold the funds and then distribute the funds based upon a request.
And then how do we draw upon those?
So we'll be drawing upon those funds by putting them on notice that we're going to be doing a project, or we're intending to design a project. They are to then to provide the funds to us to fund for the project.
And does it get determined by how much we draw, determined by how much they're going to benefit? Is there some kind of pro rata thing?
No, it's a project that the administration is going to develop and identify where we're going to make improvements within their area.
Within their area?
Within the area of the beach, within their area.
Let me clarify that a little bit. Okay. So you're going back. So yes, they did agree to giving us a monthly report, and they're going to hold it as a liability on their accounts. The way the system works is we will identify through our analysis of the beach. These are, make clear, these are for off-season, off-cycle events. It will not be for a regular 3-year renourishment. So if we identify something that there's an issue with, it's jointly recognized between us and the hotel. The focus is not solely on the hotel, because you can imagine as we build the beach, and for it to be done properly, it has to be tied into the adjacent areas. So it has to be done based on a survey, based on the requirement, based on the configuration of the beach. So yes, is it intended to be in support of that area? Yes, but it may not only be in front of the Ritz, because it all depends on how you need to build the beach.
And then if we, once we have an agreement about a project and we undertake a financial commitment, they can't renege on that money. Once that money is there, that is ours.
And it specifically says in the agreement that once it is put in the capital plan and we've agreed to the project, that they cannot pull the money back.
Correct.
Great.
Okay.
So whether there's an escrow agent or not, they're restricted funds for a special purpose.
Correct.
Yes. I mean, this is really, truly a great public-private partnership.
Yeah.
It really is.
Agreed. All right. Good job, Mr. Manager. All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of Key Biscayne, Florida, providing for ratification of the 2026-2029 collective bargaining agreement between the village and the International Union of Police Associations, AFL-CIO, for the bargaining unit consisting of the village's general employees, authorizing the village manager to sign the collective bargaining agreement on behalf of the village and take all actions necessary to implement the agreement and providing for an effective date.
Move.
Second.
Thank you.
CFO?
Sure, so this is the ratification. This is for the civilian bargaining unit. When we had briefed you at our shade session, we kind of went over some long-term, short-term goals and obligations, and there was clear instruction about the obligations that the village did not want to commit to. I think we reached a favorable agreement with our union. We listened to their concerns, and we met them where we could without obviously adding on to those long-term obligations to the village. So I think this is a agreement where both parties will feel is adequate and fair, and most importantly, will be for the next 3 years. 3 years of time, and as we always say, our employees are our biggest asset. They're also the biggest expenditure line item in our village budget, so we're happy to get one of the 4 units ratified and set the tone for the other 3 that remain.
Great.
On this one, any questions? One down, 3 to go. All right. Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Real quick, before you walk away, on the last item, do I remember not all counties are able to impose a resort fee? Is that correct?
It's not just all counties, it's local governments, and they're correct. There's only a couple that have been authorized around the state, and in Miami-Dade County, you have, besides Miami-Dade County, you do have a couple cities, Bal Harbour and Surfside are 2 of them.
In Miami Beach.
And Miami Beach.
And we're not one of them.
We're not.
No, this is the fee, not, yeah.
Correct. And I know it's been a discussion, and I know the manager has attempted to try to open that door, but there wasn't an appetite for that up in Tallahassee.
That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Okay. The next item is a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of Key Biscayne, Florida, selecting CSR Heavy Construction, Inc. for the Village Green Park Curb Surfacing Project in an amount not to exceed $89,194 pursuant to invitation to bid ITB number 2026-07, providing for authorization and providing for an effective date.
Move.
Second.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This project is to improve the safety of our athletic fields on the Village Green. It was brought to our attention by one of our residents that their son received a significant injury at the park, and the manager directed that we begin to research how to rectify that condition at the field. So we went out to bid for a rubber topping that will go around the concrete border of the field. We got 2 bids back. We selected CSR Heavy Construction, if you'll recall. They're the firm that did the project at St. Agnes. They were responsive. They completed the project on time and within budget. So we are confident that they are the right firm to complete this work.
Questions? Mike, you got a question?
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
No, you're still mute.
I don't read hand signals, so.
No, I think he's calling in.
Hey, Jocelyn, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Todd real quick if there's a means and methods to address the UV light from eating this plastic or rubber. How is that going to be addressed long term?
Our plan is to not have to have this at the field long-term in our capital improvement program. This field is to be replaced in 2 years. Hopefully, we can continue that and then address the surface in a more permanent way when we reconstruct the field. I'm sorry, 3 years.
That's good enough, Todd. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on this? This safety issue, we got to take care of it. Is it, there are some other pieces that separate the playground from one area to the other? Those are,
Those,
those are not included in this?
no, they're not. And those are, well, the curb is not within the standard distance of the end line here. And that's what we need to fix. All the curbs on the playground meet the playground safety standard for distance. Like a swing has, obviously, you can imagine a much more significant distance that an object cannot be within than, a slide. But everything in our playground meets those standards. So,
Okay.
like I said, we'll rectify this when we rebuild the field.
Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of Key Biscayne, Florida, approving a second amendment to the joint use agreement with the School Board of Miami-Dade County for repairs, replacements, and upgrades to the recreational fields at the Maritime and Science Technology Academy, MAST, in an amount not to exceed $2,482,896, with the school board reimbursing the village for 50% of such costs, providing for authorization and providing for an effective date.
Move.
Second.
Thank you.
Mr. Director?
Sure. This amendment, the second amendment to our joint use agreement, establishes the framework for a shared capital project. As I mentioned, it's a 50% cost share where we get reimbursed on the back end when the project's completed. Earlier this year, you approved Budget Amendment 2, which funded the design criteria package and the surveying required to complete this project. We are looking to maintain the same schedule we did with St. Agnes, which is to get all first get the school board to pass this amendment and then conduct the design criteria package and the surveying so we can go out to bid.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
For my edification, the original, the original contract that we had with the school board, any extensions or expansions in Mast Academy, does that fall under a specific contract? Is this something new? Are we in an agreement?
This is all in
agreement with them?
Yeah, this is all in
from the
accordance
past?
with our joint use agreement that we originally entered into.
Okay.
It has a section regarding capital improvements.
Exactly. That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So the question is, did that agreement say anything that we do is 50/50?
It said that it would be reimbursed and
Was there a
negotiated.
split defined?
Yeah, a
Or
split
is
would be
this some-
negotiated, and this is what we negotiated.
Like the basketball court, was that 50/50 also, or was
No,
it
that was,
reimbursed?
no, that was 100% the village. But, so it allows to be negotiated. There are some things, like if we needed to replace our storage facility, they don't use that, that would probably be 100% us. If we were going to do some other facility that's primarily used by us, there might be a different rate. They agreed that the field is at 50 and 50, 50% used by them, 50% by us. We started this negotiation quite a long time ago.
No, and I'm not,
Okay.
I mean, we're done with it, right?
Yep.
But I'm just trying to understand what the framework is of negotiation with the school board when we have incorporate additional facilities, or we expand, or we don't. Do we always have to pitch in? Is it just based on the usage? What drove the 50/50?
It's based on the usage, like, for example, the lights, right?
Yeah,
put
we
in the
paid
light-
100%
Paid
for them.
100% of the lights because the school district doesn't use lights, because they don't have, so it's the programmatic activities of the improvement that are evaluated and the staff negotiates on
Okay,
that percentage.
Well, I really appreciate this, and I think it's great. It's a great opportunity. I don't know if council gets, if we get involved in these, in understanding what these negotiations are, because what I see today is an agreement right here, 50/50. And I'm not saying we wouldn't agree to that, but I think that we should allow an opportunity. If there was there, my apologies, I may have missed it, but I don't remember. And I think that for something of this degree, we should be part of that, we should have that understanding. I think we should.
Frank, did you have something to do with negotiating the joint use agreement?
Slightly. The field was 50/50. That was
Okay.
our agreement.
Fair enough.
There
And
were
that was,
elements-
I'm sorry, that was in what,
2011?
2014?
So it was already preset.
Well, there was a negotiation on multiple fronts. For example, the K-8 was part of the negotiation. That was, I think that was 100% district, but we front-end loaded some of the costs, and then they reimbursed 100%. There were other elements that were village only because they were for the village only. The field was 50/50.
But like Chad said, the lights, because we requested.
Because they don't use them.
If they don't use them, we paid 100% of that.
Okay. Then it's something that has already been prearranged.
The original, yes, this was negotiated over the last year.
I think the question is that it is within the framework of the existing agreement. So what we've done in the
Yes.
past, we're continuing to go forward with that same.
My question is when something, and again, this is set, it's good, but
I understand your
let's
point.
have, this is something that I feel that we get it here and we're ready, we have to agree on it or not. It's kind of a binary decision.
I understand.
Give us an opportunity, that's all.
Right, but we don't have to put the money in. It's not, they're not forcing us to put the money in.
No,
Yeah.
sure.
So,
It's a
but,
deal.
but if you've seen the condition of that field, you say, well,
I understand,
yeah.
Mayor, I understand. That's not my point, but I get it.
And, over the years, we've realized one thing, we need that field.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that field came
It's a
along at
danger
the most
at this
perfect
point.
time. We got that field and then we lost Crandon, so it ended up being a net neutral for our field capacity, but without that, we would have been devastated.
And just to add, I think what the mayor said is right. This is just the agreement with the school district. The construction contract and all of that's going to come back before this council, and you'll make the decision then if you're going to really proceed with the costs and the construction.
If we are going to, okay.
Yeah, this is just setting up the framework between the two regulatory bodies, and
I
then,
understand.
yeah.
I understand, but it's a 50/50.
Yeah,
The
that's-
fact that we need a
yes.
field, I'm not questioning that. I'm not questioning anything of the needs that we have and that this thing has been discussed and all that. All that I'm questioning is that I'm sitting here at the dais and all of a sudden I get a contract here where I have to agree to 50/50. And that's all I'm asking. Educate us beforehand. That's all I'm asking.
Well, council member, it's been in the capital plan for 4 years.
And was it 50/50 there?
Always.
Okay, well. Did
So-
everybody know about it?
I knew about it.
You knew about it, okay.
I wasn't here 4 years ago.
Okay.
This is a little bit off, but I did notice, and we did discuss this, but I just want to confirm that there was mention in here of a possible increase in cost, which, as you said, is going to come up actually later, because the rock surface might be determined to be insufficiently permeable and might need to be replaced for drainage. But that additional cost would be covered in this contingency, right?
I mean, I would hope so. There's, when,
I
I
mean,
would
it's
imagine so.
envisioned at this point that was.
That's why there's a contingency, but when there's unforeseen conditions, they can't always be.
Who would
qual-
manage, sorry, apologies. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm done, thanks.
Who manages the construction?
We're going to ask to do it. We're gonna do the design criteria package, and we're gonna ask to do it. And as in the past, we've done it in the past, and I imagine we would continue to do it again this time.
Okay, so we're not leaving it in the hands of the school board to manage.
But obviously, they're gonna have to
Right.
permit it. They're gonna have to go through their process. It is their land. So we'll have to go through all that approval process.
Which we've done previously, so.
Jocelyn?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Todd, can you tell us just the life of the contract for the entire use agreement so that people can, other than just, you guys that are familiar with this, how long the actual contract use is for the field? Is it 20 more years, 30 years indefinitely? What is it?
It was 30 years, if I remember correctly.
And we're where on the 30-year period?
We're probably 15 years into the
Something like that.
30-year
We
agreement.
expect to continue to have this agreement in place no reason why we wouldn't.
Yeah, it's definitely within the lifespan of the turf is shorter than the lifespan of our agreement.
Perfect, thank you.
But we'll want to extend this agreement.
Usually when we've amended, we've extended, so we can see if we can get that done.
Excellent.
I think the only other thing that's happened since inception on the field itself is the turf. Is that right?
The turf, we extended the
Expanding
turf
it
after
in
we did.
16, right?
Yeah, after we removed the temporary buildings and created the parking lot. Then the first amendment was for the solar panels that were put on top of the PE structure. And this is the next substantial change.
We're ready to do this.
Madam Clerk?
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is a resolution of the Village Council of the Village of Key Biscayne, Florida, approving the First Amendment to the Professional Services Agreement with KB Soccer, Inc., providing for authorization and providing for an effective date.
Move.
Second.
Thank you.
Good evening again.
Questions?
This amendment strengthens accountability, transparency, player development standards. It includes an annual program review and also incorporates updated statutory requirements. This proposed revision reflects extensive collaboration with the community, with the soccer club, with the Athletics Advisory Board, and includes comments not only from the advisory board, not only from the soccer club, but from residents and people that were present at our advisory board meetings. It formalizes many of the improvements discussed at these meetings and is here to ensure the continued success and accountability of our youth soccer program.
Questions?
Was this the issue where some of the parents were expressing some concerns about the hierarchies and playing? Is that what?
Right. This agreement just adds to what's already existing. We probably will have a conversation at some other point in time.
Let's be fair for everybody.
Questions? If not, Madam Clerk?
I have a little bit of sympathy for the speaker earlier that talked about, the word that's used is equal treatment as opposed to fair, consistent, uniform treatment. I'm not sure that's precisely correct in terms of youth athletics or any athletics.
What the amendment does is they have recommended standards, and now we're going to work on required standards. The required standard doesn't have to be exactly equal, but we don't want a kid driving to Weston or Naples and not playing in the game. So we will find what's equitable and just.
What is the DOC? What is that initial?
Director of Coaching.
Council member has a question.
Go ahead.
Oh, wait. Hold on, I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Nancy, are you comfortable with the comments for this modification? Because I know you're the liaison.
Yes, there were extensive, as Todd said, there were extensive input from the Athletic Advisory Board. There were public comments at the advisory board meetings. There were comments from the general public that came in that were taken into consideration. So this is, these amendments and the different provisions in them are directly a result of what input we got, which is what makes this different from the other sports. So yes, the advisory board is comfortable and advises to proceed with this amendment.
How about the consultant?
Thank you.
Do they participate in the negotiation?
I'm sorry?
The consultant,
What
the
consultant?
service provider.
Yes, he was present. He was present, I believe, at every meeting. And participated fully.
This reads a little heavy-handed to me, but I'd like to proceed and make this move forward.
All right, Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a capital project authorizing resolution of the Village Council of the Village of Key Biscayne, Florida, authorizing the village manager to issue a work order to the Stout Group LLC for village-wide roadway improvements, street resurfacing along Buttonwood Drive, Hampton Lane, Ridgewood Road, and West Mashta in an amount not to exceed $306,742 and providing for an effective date.
Move.
Second.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Chris Miranda, Public Works Director. This resolution asks for authorization for the repaving of roads. As you guys know, we have been actively attending to the Pavement Condition Index report for the village and improving our roadways throughout the past 9 months. We wish to continue, and this will allow us to do that. We are looking to resurface Buttonwood Drive, Hampton Lane, Ridgewood Road, and a section of West Mashta between the bridge and Harbor Drive. It's that one little piece right there. There is, in the back of the packet, a map that shows the roads that we will be resurfacing in green. The roads that are in blue are the ones that we have done, as I said, over the past 9 months. And the ones in orange were repaved with the immediate flood control program a couple of years ago. These roads were identified, as I said, under the Pavement Condition Index report that was conducted back in 2024. And as soon as all of these roads are paved, I'm going to be commissioning another report to see where we're at. We anticipate that we will have raised our condition index by more than 10%.
So you're primarily maintaining the roads that we have?
That is correct. That is correct.
Secondly, did you take this out to bid?
This was bid. We're going to be using our on-call contractor, which was out, we put out the bid last year. They're under contract for us for 3 years, so that is the contract that we'll be using, the Stout Group. Yes.
So the material pricing is from last year, which
Correct.
should be better than
Correct.
if we did it out today, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Chris, a couple of questions. Are you guys looking at, have you had an opportunity to look at the subgrade of the subbase in these roads?
Wherever we find that there is a significant drop or a dip in the road, the contractor, when he mills, is going in and addressing that issue. We found 2-3 locations right now that had some issues, and we did resolve them.
Okay.
Yes.
Good, thank you. And you're saying you're keeping it at grade?
We're keeping it at grade, but also wherever we find that we have maybe some ponding or some holding some water, we will address that issue with corrective action in the asphalt. So there will be a little additional asphalt placed. We're also making sure that we have a crown in the road where the roads are flat and not crowning, so that the water pitches to both sides.
So we're pitching the road, trying to get it to as best as we can to the catch basins, and we're also looking at the subgrade to see if we have any structural deficiencies. We'll fix them there.
Correct. That is correct.
Perfect.
And
Thank you.
basically field engineering the roadways.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you.
And this was in our capital improvement program?
This was in addition, in our capital improvement program, there was additional funds. So we are using those funds within capital improvement to fund this project.
Okay.
Could you remind, maybe just me, but maybe more, asphalt is the prescribed material, still and again? That's it?
Yes. Yes, it is. It is the primary material used by all agencies, FDOT, municipality, Dade County, everywhere throughout the country as prescribed material for roadways, yes.
Parking lots too?
Parking lots too.
Brave new world, right?
All right, Madam Clerk?
Let me get Councilmember Bracken back on mute, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Yeah.
carries.
It did sound like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, one of the most important things we need to talk about a little bit about right now is the property tax issue. So if I can get our CFO to come up and bring us up to date.
I'm sorry.
Which, by the way, this would impact
What do we prefer?
in the future our capital improvement budget. It would impact potentially our debt. It would potentially impact our future revenues, and more importantly, what we can and can't do. So it would be another super preemption. And so let's talk about it at a little high level right now. We don't have all the answers yet, but we have started looking in depth at this. Mr. CFO.
We have a little technical difficulty here, but if you want to talk big picture before your slides pop up.
Sure. So we've been obviously.
Get the mic closer to you.
We've been monitoring and updating this throughout the past 2025 when the House was looking at this and kind of came up with, it was like 8 or 10 proposals, and we briefed you on what the impact would be to the Village of Key Biscayne. But later, obviously, things moved quickly in the last couple of weeks, and we saw the bill that the Senate passed and ultimately is going to be going in the November ballots for referendum. I just want to remind everybody that for these items to pass, they do need a supermajority, which is 60%, above 60% approval. So obviously this just came out. We've been analyzing it very quickly, and obviously there's a lot to the bill and questions, and I know Chad's firm at Weiss Serota is looking into this as well and have questions on the impact. So we did a brief overview of what this HJR 1F means for our village budget. So let me take you through some of the proposals in the referendum. The first one is probably the one that got the most headlines. This has to do with the increased homestead exemption. What this does is for the first year, it raises the exemption to $150,000, and in the second year to $250,000. I do want to emphasize that this replaces the existing $50,000 we have now, so it's not additive. So it's $150 instead of the $50, so it's $100 more, and then it becomes $200 more for the next year. The other thing I want to keep in mind is we are heading into our budget season for fiscal year 27. This will not impact the fiscal year 27 budget, but obviously we're looking at this as a mid or long-term approach to say, how do we want to position ourselves heading into 27, knowing that this potentially, depending on the votes in November, could be affecting our fiscal year 28 and obviously fiscal year 29 budget. If we look at the impacts of that additional, of the 150 and 250,000 homestead exemption, it's about 800,000 impact in revenue to the village, assuming we're keeping our millage rate steady of where it is today. And in the second year, it doubles to about $1.6 million. I did find interesting just looking at the folios specifically of our about 7,400 properties. There would be about 115 properties that once this fully phases in would not pay any taxes to the Village of Key Biscayne. They would still have obligations. There's obviously other levying authorities on the tax bill. So for instance, this bill specifically exempts school board, so they would still be having a tax bill for other items, but wouldn't be paying into the Village of Key Biscayne tax system.
They would still also have to pay the county portion.
Well, they'd probably be exempt from that portion. I mean, because this 150, 250 is all levying authorities except for school board. So it might eliminate county, it might fine district, library, et cetera, of all the municipal districts on there.
How many did you say, properties?
115. That's kind of the max number because that's right what now have a $250,000 or less. Obviously, in 2 years' time, they could grow up. They could increase in value, so maybe that number goes down to 100. But there are some that would not pay in at all. I just wanted to emphasize that point. On the next slide, and not getting as much attention, but I wanted to bring this to light, was for the non-homestead. The non-homestead the cap on increase in value, right now the system is they're allowed a 10% increase in value every year. That would be halved and would go down to 5%. The reason that's so important for the village is that 2/3 of our properties are non-homesteaded. So when we look at sort of the county averages and I look at the other 34 municipalities, we kind of rank on the lower end of how many of our houses are homesteaded. So I believe this will have a bigger long-term impact on the village's ability to raise revenue. So when we look at the non-homestead, that's really condominiums, second homes, commercial areas, and also single-family homes that are non-owner occupied. So it's not just condos, it's not just commercial, but really that bucket of all three. And here I tried to project whether if our real estate market stays hot, and looking at the last 15 years to see kind of what this non-homestead market has done, I have three scenarios here. I think the middle one is probably a fair analysis, which is that blue line in the middle, to say, what would this impact have over 10 years? If these property values continue to increase by more than 5% in value, obviously this bill would suppress that value and take us longer to catch up to full value. The other part to keep in mind is we already have non-homestead properties in the books right now that are well below their market value. So even the existing properties we have now, before we talk about them increasing in value down the road, it'll take us longer to catch up to their true market value unless that property changes hands in new ownership. When I looked at that, it happens about 4% of our properties change over, have about 4% turnover per year. So I factored that into the calculations as well.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
When you say non-homestead and then you list condos, second homes, rentals, shops, I think what you mean is commercial properties, residential properties, whether they're homes or condos that are owned by companies and that are not owned by individuals who have claimed homestead. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Because people who have homesteaded as a primary residence, their condos are homesteaded properties. They're not.
The first slide would affect them. This
Right,
is
okay.
second properties.
Okay.
Here's another proponent of the bill which had changed over time. Originally, there were 6 categories that you'd be eligible to spend your ad valorem revenue on. We believe now with the new language that this wouldn't impact the village as much. And Chad, I don't know if you want to chime in on the restrictive language, but I believe we're okay now because they have a broad language that kind of covers anything the council approves unless general law bans it. So it does look like there is local control on what we actually spend the ad valorem revenues on.
Yeah, that's correct. There is a catch-all now, but there's 2 caveats. The first one is that the constitutional amendment would allow for that catch-all to occur except as otherwise prohibited by law. So the legislature could start limiting in the future what the village could spend money on. And number 2, that catch-all doesn't eliminate the fact that these homestead exemptions are also being kicked in, so you're going to have a smaller pot. But at least the categories for spending was expanded to include village or government administrative and management expenses.
Do you have an example of what this was targeting?
I think it was trying to deal with the arguments maybe for parks or for just general services that are not picked up in the other categories, which are very specific.
Yeah, originally it was the flip side. They were trying to focus on was essential services only: public service, public works, infrastructure, debt, and that's pretty much where they left it. And then they realized that there is a larger component to municipalities than just those 4 items.
So that would exclude libraries and parks and recreational programs.
Zoning and planning and administrative requirements, all those sort of things. So I think they caught on, and it was really in the last couple hours where they added that in, correct?
It was the day before it was added in, yeah.
This is dismaying.
So obviously a concern at first. We had to rejigger the slides, and fortunately it ended up being okay, and I think in our favor that obviously offers a wider array of expenditures you can spend ad valorem on. Here's kind of the long-term projections looking at the estimated annual revenue impact. Once again, for the assumption, we keep the millage rate steady. So if you look at the bottom half is the orange part, that's the homestead exemption. So you'll notice it doubles from FY '28 to FY '29, and then it slightly increases because that $250,000 then increases by inflation every year. So it grows a little bit as cost of living grows up. The blue part would be that long-term impact of the non-homestead exemption, assuming kind of the middle case scenario where our non-homestead properties continue to increase at a rate faster than 5%. I think we assumed about 7%. That's how it would look over time. So you look in any given year, 10 years out the road, and obviously the longer you go out in a projection, the harder it is to exactly narrow where it is. It could be $7 or $8 million a year in lost revenue to the village.
I think the largest impact on this is, if you look at the orange or the area on the bottom, that obviously we're gonna have to tighten our belt, and I think we can do it without, having too much of an impact on service delivery. But the blue really represents what we do for future investment, and that's where it begins to cut into those things we need to look at in the future, whether it be stormwater. We talked a lot about fields today. We talked about the facilities. So that's when, and you can see the amount. I'm not sure if you add that up over time, but I'm looking at about 5 times 10, almost talking 50 million there over a 10-year period. So that's quite a bit of money. So as Benjamin mentioned, that blue part will probably have a greater impact on Key Biscayne than just a non-homestead portion.
At a time when public investments are unprecedented and complex.
And needed.
Isn't there some delay, though, that you can't start claiming some of this until you're in the property 2 years or 4 years or something?
That depends, that's for non-residents.
He's got that on the next slide, too.
Yeah, so the next slide are some of the
Benjamin,
other.
But on that chart, that's just assuming a steady millage, right? Not an
Correct. Here we keep
increase.
the steady millage rate at 2.88.
So one possible way to address this would be to increase millage, right?
So during the budget season, I think we're going to get into all the different mitigation strategies, expenditure side, revenue side, fee side, and look at these holistically, because it's not a simple just increase the millage to address this. We think, obviously, there's a reason why property tax reform is a hot button issue now. So I think kind of the direction was about expenditures. I will say, obviously, what we've done in the village is we've decreased our millage steadily over the last 5 years, and always, had a keen eye on expenditures and obviously delivering services. So it'll be a balancing act. We're just going to analyze the bill now, but I think later in the budget season we'll come up with either expenditure cuts of areas or reprioritizations, or on the revenue side, how do we adapt here? So, like I said, the good news is it doesn't affect our fiscal year 27 budget, but we need to have the eye looking towards the future and how that'll look long term.
So I don't know, tell me if this is an appropriate example. Chris was just up talking about the 300,000 for road improvement. One possibility that would come out of that is that you'd have to extend the period of time that you do those road improvements. Instead of doing them over 5 years, you got to do them over 20 years, and you would be restricted from being able to get that done in a faster or more prudent manner.
Yeah, deferring capital projects, what you mentioned, is one, but deferred maintenance, we always know, ends up costing longer in the long term, but that will be an option that we'll present as well.
How are we going to, I guess, trying to understand, looking at this, the expenditure reductions or any fee adjustments or millage changes, are you going to bring kind of like a matrix or show us how this thing will work out? Because right now we're looking at this, and we understand in concept, philosophically, it's going to be impacts, but I don't think we really have an understanding of the hard numbers. I hear you.
Yeah.
We're going to go through the budget season, and this is going to be discussed. Are we going to have an option to?
Well, what we're going to do, and I'll let him go in a little more detail. So we're going to do two things. One is understanding what that impact would be, which we pretty much understand here, but we've got to let this bill settle a little bit more and get more.
Yeah, I understand that.
And then lay out the couple options of how we would address that. And I'll let him go into that. And then also, we need to talk about what we want to do in this year's budget, FY '27, preparing us for '28.
Well, that's
kind
where
of a
I'm going
strategic
at.
question of what do we need to do in advance of that.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, what we do in 2027 will definitely affect 2028. So what I'm trying to understand, Mr. Manager, is really more of what the numbers are going to be. I hope staff comes back with an understanding of where would the highest pressure points would be, the impacts to the budget or to the overall
Go
services.
back a couple slides because we have it on.
Right now I see revenue impacts and all that. important to know right now, but we have a pending bill that's about to be
So
approved.
there's a slide that we share every budget meeting that shows kind of categorization of expenses. So we have our personnel costs, which there's not really ability to cut there. We have our contracted ones where we already have contracts which we're not going to breach. And there's really a smaller portion that's discretionary. And I think that's where we could come up with recommendations on the expenditure side of, do we, as the mayor mentioned, defer maintenance? Do we defer train? I mean, we'll come up with ideas there on the expenditure side. On the revenue side, we've been talking revenue diversification for about 5 years now, not knowing this was coming down the pipe, just as good governance to look at other sources besides ad valorem, not knowing this was coming. Now we might have to expedite looking at charges for services or other fee type structures if we're not able to increase taxes.
I know every municipality, every agency is thinking about this throughout the whole state. Are you guys maybe in discussions with other entities, other agencies, other municipalities to try to understand if somebody out there is developing a model that works or not? Any ideas? Are you talking about this with your respective peers?
So, Steve and I were at a city managers conference as this was coming out, and I think there was, based on the different demographics, I'm looking at this chart here on the slide, and this looks very different amongst different municipalities. Even in Dade County, this orange bar goes much higher for other communities that have much more homesteaded properties and are going to be impacted much more rapidly off the bat. So I think this just came out about a couple weeks ago. So I think we're all still going through this analysis. What the reality is, we're also waiting in November to see, does this pass or not? So
Exactly.
we're going to have scenarios whether it does pass, whether it doesn't pass, and if it does, we're going to have expenditure side, revenue side, and look at this.
But we still have to approve the millage rate before it passes through referendum. So what structure are you proposing for that?
Well, we got to pass the millage rate for FY '27, but this wouldn't take effect until FY '20.
I understand, but that's why I said what we do in 2027 is what is going to end up affecting 2028. So I don't think we are, with this looming out there, this bill looming out there, I think we can't just go like this and say, no, nothing's going to happen, or if it happens, it'll be somebody else's problem.
No, and we're not. This is exactly why we're presenting it to you. And we will bring it to you with the idea, and I think we have to, with the idea that it will happen.
Yeah, but will there be another opportunity, or would there be maybe two scenarios to talk about? Maybe if it doesn't pass, or if it does pass?
I think in preparing the budget 27, we'll walk through those scenarios, whether it does or it doesn't, and get the appetite of how do we want to address it if it does, so that we can set the tone for next summer when we're talking about the fiscal year 28 budget, and we have the direction to say, do we want to look at this just as an expenditure side and what that looks like, so we're prepared.
But we can't adopt alternative millage.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that will be a first, because this is a first.
Yeah.
This whole thing is a first for everyone.
Is Mike trying to say something?
Yes. Go ahead, Councilmember.
Benjamin, what's the restriction as far as increasing millage rate? Is there a percentage that we're not allowed to increase over on the annualized basis?
So the statutory limit is 10 mills. Obviously, we're well below that amount. There are certain provisions in trim law about the amount of votes needed to raise the millage. So depending on how much you're increasing it, you might need a unanimous vote. If it's a little smaller increase, you might need a 2/3 vote or just a simple majority, depending on how much over the current rate you're willing to increase it. So I don't have all the exact numbers now, but we can provide them.
Yeah, it's based off.
So you could run an analysis that said if we increase the millage rate to the cap, so whatever that value was, you said 10 mills, we could run financial analysis by looking at the different ranges of how much we could increase millage if we chose.
But the issue with that is that you still have to have a balanced budget. So you would have a lot of revenue then, and
yeah, the statutory limit of 10 mills is quadrupling our current. There's no scenario here where we need that much, but yes, we could be more realistic in talking about millage increases and what the vote requirements would be for each one of those to replace just the lost revenue.
Yeah, I mean, we could run that we can increase the millage rate to address the lost revenue if we chose to do that as a group.
Yeah, we'll lay
with a certain vote requirement.
So is it fair to say that because we've been so careful to keep such a low millage rate that we really are in much more comfortable territory than some of the other municipalities?
I think so. We've done a very good scrub over the last 5 or 6 years on our expenditures, making sure we're being very careful with what we spend.
Yeah, I want to add Fernando was talking about who we contacted. I'm talking to a lot of different mayors, and I know cities like West Miami, Biscayne Park, Cutler Bay. There's serious problems for those folks. I mean, serious problems. We're in much better shape than a lot of other cities, but we have to look at also from that point of view. The county is probably going to be in big trouble also.
Mayor, I think that's an important thing that you bring up. Remember, this isn't just our millage. I mean, this isn't just our property tax, excuse me, sorry. This is also the counties and the services that they provide for us. So we're going to have a number of impacts. It also, the libraries is also a millage-based system as well. So it's not just municipal services. The county and others are also going to be impacted as well.
So then on the last slide, the bill keeps going on. There are other provisions in the bill, and one of them talks about eventually having full elimination of homestead, but there's no exact details as to when or how that would happen. I just wanted to throw that out there. That's kind of, the long-term goal of the governor. There was, as Councilmember Stoner mentioned, the 4-year wait for new residents, so those establishing Florida residency. It would take 4 years for them to then get that $250,000 homestead exemption. However, there is, starting in 2030, the council could vote to eliminate that waiting period for new residents if what's called critical local need, whether you guys need outside investment to help the municipality, you could vote to reduce that waiting period. Obviously, that would reduce the amount of taxable value to the village, but you might see it necessary for other reasons to bring in or to increase turnover and move properties. And this also preserves the $500,000 portability cap, which means if your taxable value is less than $500,000 or more, less than your market value, you can port that with you if moving to a property. There are kind of more detailed equations, whether your property is more valuable or you're downsizing, as to how much you can port over, but it does preserve the majority of it.
The 4-year waiting period is only for non-Florida residents who are now moving to Florida. It's not for people within the state moving elsewhere within the state who have residency and who are moving.
Correct.
You'd probably see a flood of buyers at the end of the year if that were the case, right?
I think that was put in there to prevent exactly that from happening.
Mike, any other questions?
One moment. Go ahead, Councilmember.
No, Joe, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. We're still going through the bill and understanding it. There may be entities that will want to challenge some of the language, and that's something that's going on as we speak. So, but in any case, we gotta be ready for it. You know a little bit about that, Chad, or as to?
So there will be a challenge to the ballot. The ballot question is pretty misleading if you read it. My firm will be bringing a challenge on behalf of certain plaintiffs pro bono, challenging the bill as being misleading. It's not a fair and accurate, really not fair and accurate to the voter, and that's really the basis. And it's a lot of times, if you read the ballot question, it really seems like more of a political rally, rah-rah, as opposed to being just neutral, fair, impartial ballot language, allowing a voter to make a decision. So,
Sorry, I mean to interrupt you.
no, that's fine.
No, I mean, is the bill structure in a way that it doesn't clarify to the citizen itself that there are going to be impacts to basic services?
Yeah, I mean,
what's the misleading part?
I mean, so you can start right with the title. The title of the ballot summary is "Save Our Homes from Excessive Property Taxes."
Yeah, it sounds like a sales pitch.
Okay, then the next sentence, this amendment benefits Florida taxpayers. So those two, then if you go further, It talks about and ensures funding for core services. Well, it doesn't actually ensure any funding for core services. It actually limits your spending on core services. It says it protects small businesses, but businesses are not even referenced in the constitutional amendment. And ensures fairness for Florida residents, which is the non-resident that we were talking about before. But it doesn't do that. There's a litany of misleading statements in this to try to sell this. Not to mention that if you read the ballot question, it says that you're exempting homestead properties from taxation. The exemption exempts the first 250. Well, actually, the first year you don't get 250. You get 150,000. So that's misleading. Talks about a schedule of full elimination, which Benjamin highlighted. The amendment doesn't have a full elimination. It actually talks in terms of the legislature creating a process for governments to address future assessments. So we believe that it's really unconstitutional from a variety of different reasons.
Thank you.
So,
Question, Manager. Is there an outreach set? I mean, is somebody from the county or who's on point to deliver the message to the public, as the village attorney well expressed here, all the issues that this bill has?
Well,
the big slogan.
that's an excellent question, because by the same token, our hands are tied as to whether we can advocate freely against this. So you want to address that?
So you as council members have the ability to advocate, freedom of speech. There is a section of Florida law, I think it's section 106.113, which limits expenditures of governments. Governments are limited in how they can spend money when there's an item that hits the ballot. So there are certain things that we will be able to do, but we won't be able to do advocacy to try to advocate against it.
I wasn't talking so much advocacy, but more education. That's
So,
really an
yes.
objective approach to it. Nobody is not sitting here. We want the residents to know.
Correct.
What they're
And
voting
we
for.
will be able to address factual questions
That's
and
what
provide factual information.
And that's what we intend to do after we have the budget workshop later this month. And when we talk through some of the options, we'll decide at that point if we want to. Of course, we want to educate our residents, but I think how we want to do it, and we'll be doing that probably over the summer as we go through our budget hearing, and that will be in September. We'll move towards the opportunity for them to have that vote in November.
Yeah.
But again, like Chad said, it's very
people are fully
clearly
aware of, apart from hearing out there and hearing the different partisans' positions, but aside from that, what is the real objective center of this, and how can people understand what they're going out the ballot?
I can tell you from at least the lawsuit that we'll be filing is really not to get into the substance, but really to just provide a fair and accurate ballot question, because that's not where it is. And that's really what we'll be doing. I'm sure that the Florida League of Cities is going to be doing a lot of work on this. I'm sure the Association of Counties also. So there will be a large movement to deal with this, but there will also be a movement on the other side too. So it's.
So look, I think, this law does a part of what people are looking for, which is to address property taxes. I think it's something that we have to take seriously, and I think our residents, as well as other people across the state, have a concern with that. So we have to balance that at the same time. As Chad mentioned, the Florida League of Cities is providing us a lot of information. And so once we are able to understand the impact on our budget, we can then talk about really what it does, right? We're not going to be talking in platitudes. We'll be able to say, this is the impact on the village. And I think that's really where it makes sense. That's about education. Instead of saying, this is what it could do, this is what it will do.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Let's deal this issue about, I got Michael there, talk about the solid waste contract. Mike, if my memory serves me, you wrote a letter asking for it to be delayed, or didn't we go through this already?
We did, unfortunately, Joe, I don't believe the SAB committee got enough time to review the document. Unfortunately, that document was only given them to, as Karen said a week ago, and they're just asking for an additional month to give their feedback, and I would appreciate if we would offer them that time.
I would agree with that. I had the opportunity to attend the Sustainability Committee, and I sense that there is an opportunity for the residents and the committee specifically to take a look at this, and us as well, to understand what the framework of this contract is and what opportunities or what other alternatives are out there, if there are out there, but what other alternatives we have. We need more clarity. We need a little bit more of time, because for all I know, we're going to get into a contract, and there's other stuff out there that could be more fair and equitable for our residents, and other opportunities on how to handle, waste, from recycling to perhaps even composting. And I think that we have a great opportunity here to take a look at this and do it with a little more detail and more conscience with with our community. So
I certainly agree with that. Yep.
Nope.
So perhaps, Mr. Manager, just want to ask you,
No, I agree.
what can we do?
Yeah, so, Mr. Mayor, Council, so what I'm trying to avoid, of course I can change the date. I gave them a date of 1 July. I did it on purpose, because if you go back to the soccer contract that we just approved, that started 9 months ago. So we can't wait for 9 months. So I told them when we handed them the contract of June 1st that I want to put this out by July 1st. So they actually took it seriously, which was actually very good, because they decided to get together on June 12th, and they're going to get together. Of course, as conversation goes forward, we can talk about extending that date. But I just don't want to go through another 9-month process where the board and the community goes through this and we don't get much feedback. So we're very interested in the feedback. I'm very interested in working with the board. And when the board chair comes to me and talks to me about it, I will work with them on that timeline.
Great.
So, Steve, we got an agreement to extend it for a period of time?
Say that louder, sir.
So, Steve, we've got an agreement to extend this for another month?
Yes, and I'm not sure when you're back, council member, but certainly, if you would let me work with Derek, we can come up with a timeline. But again, like I don't want this to go through another 9-month period.
I will assure you that we'll not go more than 2 months, period. You got my word.
Okay, so I'll work, if you don't mind, I'll work with Derek. We'll set a timeline and we can make that happen.
And I'll be back June 30th.
Okay.
Okay.
Forgive me, I don't hear a date. I know it's kind of out there vague, but as Mike asked.
You need to come to the podium, because, I'm sorry.
Thank you. It's summer break, everybody takes a break. Council doesn't even convene again until August 25th. So I'd like
I wish that were true, but
Oh, I mean, if you do, great, because this, as I said, to extend it allows us to do our job and you to do your job. And we have a lot to say, and this is really a very important contract. And as Councilmember Vasquez said, there are lots of opportunities that I think we need to explore.
But what I heard Mike say and the manager say is, yes, we will extend as needed. Okay, if we can solve it faster, fine. If we need 2 months, which is what Mike said, that would be the outside date, right?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, and what I also said, I said when the board chair comes to me, I'll work with the timeline with him as well.
Okay. So if it's not enough, we'll work with you.
It's the
rest of what's going on.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Would you like to go, Mr. Mayor?
Wait. You want to announce a little bit about the soil situation?
Yeah, just a real quick, I think, Mr. Mayor, we've talked about, a couple council members came to us as well, and we're going to adjust the timeline a little bit. So Jeremy, why don't you talk to us a little bit what we've done, make it real quick, and then why we think we need to extend this a little bit.
Sure. So, just so you all know, the team has been doing so far has been, when they see a property with an issue, they're actually been posting the flyer that we produce that goes through the regulations, without any formal warnings, without anything that would lead to code compliance action, so that people have ample time to understand what we're proposing and when the enforcement would be coming more official. So we're going to push that. We're going to continue with that operation for another month before we then would move towards warnings. So it would still be just escalating into more formal warnings what did we decide, September?
September,
we have my notes, yeah. September is when we would escalate to formal warnings.
Formal violations.
Yeah, warnings that then become violations if they don't come into compliance. So even that first step before it flips to a violation is a warning. So we're trying to give people plenty of time to come into compliance. So far, there's been a focus on the 3-foot setback from the asphalt to edge. The next thing we'll be looking at it more is the site triangles for driveways, because we have looked at all the other site triangles for intersections already. Any questions?
Of my four, I only need to talk about one. Of my four.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
Let's see. Status report from manager regarding installation of timed access. Okay,
Yeah, I can put all those off because they were more in the idea of announcements. Number 1 for me, number 3 for me, and number 8 for me. The only one I'd like to discuss is my add-on.
I'm sorry, Councilmember, you're removing items?
I'm
Her discussion
deferring
items.
them.
Deferring number 1?
Number 1, number 3,
3 and
and
8.
number 8. And number
9?
9. So the only one I would like to discuss at some point is my add-on.
Okay.
that was the code of conduct.
Yes.
We're going to mayor and council members?
Yes, we're jumping around a little bit, but yes.
Go ahead, okay.
Go ahead. Can
okay.
you?
Got it.
We have a very bare bones code of conduct which only applies to participants in community center. And I think we really need to have a code of conduct that applies to participants, visitors, parents, in not only the community center, but the Village Green and in all village properties and assets. And I think it needs to be broad enough that it includes having the proper respect for other people. It needs to be very, very broad, and it needs to say, among other things, that if you have a problem, you don't take matters into your own hands, you report it to staff or to the manager or to council to resolve your issue, and that it should be published on any registration form, posted in the community center, posted on the website, because we've had a couple things happen where people have not behaved properly, and I think we should also have in this code of conduct a reservation to the village to prohibit someone from participating or attending or entering some of the facilities permanently, temporarily, or whatever, if their conduct is unacceptable. And it's unfortunate. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it happens, it's egregious and it's not good. So I would ask that I guess that I'm going to make a motion that the council direct the manager to ask Todd to beef up our code of conduct and make it more broad and inclusive, and that we post it and have the ability to enforce it.
It sounds, Councilmember, what you're asking for is not just community center or parks, but that sounds like all facilities.
It is.
Okay, and of course, we'd be happy to do that. Fortunately, unfortunately, we just had to make a significant decision in the community center just last week. I think it's fortunate, but yes, we did use that code of conduct. It did work appropriately, but if we want to broaden it to the entire village, we certainly can do that.
And I think it should not be limited to participants, but to everybody, the caretakers, the visitors, everybody.
We'll do that, and we'll do that. I would imagine we'll have to do that in conjunction with police as well, because some of them may go over into law, and so we will deal with policy and procedures, and then we'll have to leave to law what's law.
Thank you.
And we can bring something back in August.
Great. Thank you very much.
Exhibit to the First Amendment is the Youth Soccer Code of Ethics. It's pretty good.
No, we've got some very good frameworks that I think this is something we can definitely take care and bring back to council in August without a problem.
Thank you. Perfect.
So consensus of council.
Yes. Yes. Consensus of council. All right, so this one's done.
They go to,
Let's go to Pelotons, a favorite topic of
to discuss
The
bicycle and Peloton safety operations along Crandon Boulevard and the Rickenbacker Causeway corridor, including an update on any current interlocal agreements, enforcement protocols, or operational coordination between the Village of Key Biscayne, Miami-Dade County, and other applicable agencies. Councilmember Vasquez, your item.
I brought this item because I wanted to, well, obviously, speak about the obvious. But the other day we saw a video, thanks, I think it was Carlos Mendia who posted it, and thanks to his civic stewardship, we're getting to see what these Pelotons are doing early in the morning, and they're getting worse at least that's the perception we're getting. They're taking the whole road. So I know you guys are working hard at trying to manage it. I'm not here to question what you guys are doing, but there has to be a stop to that. We all want the bicyclists to be out there. We all want them to ride, but we want them to be safe, and we want the drivers to be safe as well. It's very early in the morning. The margin for human error increases or decreases, actually. And somebody can get hurt or somebody can go to jail, and we don't want that. We don't want to ruin people's lives. So I just really think that we need to understand how we are managing this.
So, good evening, Mayor, Council. I appreciate your comments, and it is something that we do balance and continuously work on. As I've mentioned in several meetings in the past, we do have excellent relationships with not only the City of Miami, but Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office. And we have worked operations in collaboration with them throughout the last several months, to include one that we recently did last week, which targets not only Pelotons, because it's not just focused on Pelotons, it's focused on driver safety also, because drivers have blame also in the game. We all have to learn to share the road responsibly with one another. I do believe there has been an improvement we were getting consistent videos several months ago, and we did some multi-jurisdictional operations with the county, Key Biscayne Police, City of Miami, on several mornings out there. I participated in them. I issued tickets myself, and we saw a drop. Am I going to say that that's never going to happen, what we saw in that video? No, because it is going to happen from time to time. I do believe the activity has decreased. We did an operation last week, last Thursday, where we issued a number of citations and wrote a number of stops, but much less than when we did it the previous months. We do have another operation planned this week, and it's something that we're going to continuously monitor and continuously do. Some additional steps that I want to make sure that the council is aware of in collaboration with the city and the county. We did reach out to the Peloton groups, the Don Pond groups, and the cycling groups that regularly traverse the causeway, and notified them of our concerns and sharing the road equally with everyone. And as I said, there's always outliers, right? Because we do see the videos from time to time. I do encourage our citizens, if they are leaving the causeway, that they should not take action into their own hands, i.e. filming or driving on a median or yelling at a cyclist, because that only escalates the situation. I think everyone can agree with me. I would hope there is an increased visibility by Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office along the causeway. I see them every day when I come in, and they're very active in traffic enforcement. And the last two majors that have been
I
assigned there,
get complaints about that too.
I understand. They are here for our safety, and it's, when I say our safety, not only the Village of Key Biscayne, for all the residents and visitors of Miami-Dade County.
Chief, can I ask you a question? These operations, are they when you say recurrent, when do they take place? I mean,
Well, we vary them. When we initially started them, we started them to target the days that the large groups were riding, early morning hours, and that's when we did them. I don't like to, I can have a private conversation with you. I don't like to divulge to the public all of our operational plans and tactics on how
yeah,
we
no,
pick
I guess,
days and
I guess
times.
no. My question was more: can we try to increase the frequency of it to kind of shift the paradigm a little bit? You know, your presence there is going to make them behave, to make everybody behave.
Yeah, and we have. That's
and-
why we did an operation last week. We're doing another one this week. And we're going to continue doing these joint operations. I can't sit here and tell you that they're going to be every single day. I can't tell you, you know, and I had this conversation earlier in the day with someone. There was a period after we did those joint operations, Miami-Dade Sheriff was running radar on a daily basis at Calusa, on a daily basis, without us asking to do it. Yes, this is our driveway, but we also need to remember Miami-Dade Sheriff operates that driveway. But we do have great relationships with them. I've explained to their major, I've explained to the undersheriff the importance of not only vehicle but peloton safety along the causeway, and I really do believe that they've taken and heard us seriously. Every time I call for any assistance, they're there, and we're going to continue doing this. And I understand it's a priority for you and everyone else on this council. It's a priority for us also. We don't want to see anyone get hurt, and we want to ensure that everyone shares the road
And I
responsibly.
agree, you know, people should not be filming, but the problem is when you see something like that, you want everybody to be aware.
But they need to call us, because if they call us, we have to send someone. There is this misnomer that we don't go. If you call 911 or a non-emergency number, someone is going to get dispatched. Any police department.
Okay.
I think we also need to take into consideration the ability and the impact that officers have with these large groups. You know, when you have 60 cyclists and one officer, there is an officer safety issue there, and how do you stop one of the 60? You know, and we do it, because I've done it when we've done the joint operations. That there has to be a consideration to that also. I'm not saying all police officers are perfect. We can always improve.
Right.
But there is a human factor to what we do in law enforcement.
Right. And quick question on the cyclist side. Are there people out there that are sponsoring more safety? Do we have champions there?
Yeah,
or
the
people
305 Ride
dedicated?
Bicycle Group, which has done events on the Causeway for years, they're big champions into bicycle safety, and they preach responsible riding and shared riding. Yeah, there are groups out there that actually advocate for this. And look, you know, even my experience with the cyclists that I've stopped, you have the competitive nature of it, and then you have the ones that do it recreationally and for exercise, and they understand the balance and the delicacy of what we're dealing with.
All right, let's flank it from all ends. I mean, your end, their end, and let's really try to be safe out there.
Yes, sir.
It's a little crazy. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Do you want to move to your items?
Yes, Mr. Miranda, update on Harbor Drive.
We're glad you asked. We have some good news, Mr. Mayor.
Come on now. I've
Harbor
only
Drive.
been asking for 3 years, so.
We received our bids today. I don't have those numbers. I believe Darren has left already, but we did receive our bids today. Darren is reviewing them to make sure the packets are complete. Once he is done with that, we will have a recommendation to the manager for the award. So we are one step closer. Once we have.
In the, like the conversation we had about masks, this is something we control even though the majority of the money comes from the county?
We do control it. The county does want to see who we awarded to and make sure that it's in line with their guidelines, but we do control it.
Okay, we
We
control.
will make our recommendation of award to the county.
And they're going to pay 1.9 million of it, and we're paying a couple $100,000.
The total project estimate was 2.6 million, and the county is paying 1.9, so there's a difference of about $700,000. We have to see what the bids came in at, but yes, there will be a portion that we pay for, but the county is fronting 1.9 million.
Okay, excellent.
And Mr. Mayor, we'll be bringing it to the council on June 30th for first reading.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Attorney, other important matter that we had to discuss?
Sure. So I believe the clerk notified you that on Friday, we received notification from the Supervisor of Elections that the initiative petition that was submitted by the Petitioners Committee had received the necessary votes to be placed on the ballot. Today, the village received confirmation from the Supervisor of Elections that she consented to this item being placed on the November ballot. So pursuant to our charter, the council shall submit this amendment to the voters at the next regularly scheduled mayor or council member election, which is not a primary, or the next regularly scheduled countywide general election, which is not a primary. We're not going to be able to meet the August deadline, but the November deadline we could meet. So I would ask if the council would call for a special call meeting at some point before July 24th for us to place this on the ballot. That's the date, the drop dead date from the elections department. We will draft the question and present the question to the council. The council will then vote on the question to go to the voters. So that's it. I'm just requesting for you guys to call a special meeting so we could do that.
The question that will be on the ballot is precisely the question that was in the submittal?
Correct. So the submittal was the language, the charter language that they submitted stated any stormwater and or flood prevention projects, whether separated into separate projects and or phases, which are estimated to collectively cost more than $50 million within a period of 3 fiscal years, requires approval by a majority vote of the qualified electors voting on the proposed projects. So the question will be addressing that charter language.
So I don't really understand what we're voting on.
You'll be
If it's gonna
voting on the
that
actual ballot question, which would say something to the extent of, shall the village charter be amended to provide
That.
that?
Right,
Yes.
so we really don't have, I mean, we either
You just
rubber
have,
stamp it or not.
right, you just have, your discretion is in the ballot question, and that's it. You don't have discretion in the actual charter language, as that process went through the legal procedures to go onto the ballot.
Does that mean if a project was extended over 11 years and it cost more than $50 million, 3 years is subsumed within 11 years?
So if it's over 3 years, it would not require voter approval. So if it extended 11 years, it would not require voter approval pursuant to this.
Or 4 years.
3 years and 1 day.
3.1 years.
Yes.
I'm not sure any project can get done in 3 years. But
So, now it includes the project, you can't break it up into phases, but or if it's one project that's made up of multiple little projects, you can't do that either. But yes, I mean, it's anything over 3 years would not require voter approval.
Okay, so we're meeting on June 30th for, hold on a second. Hold on. It's the strategic workshop, no, the budget preview. Okay, so, and then the next one is July 7th.
Either one, we should deal with this.
Yeah, I'm saying it so that all of you look at your calendars and make sure you're going to be there.
Both of those dates are good, but if we stretch out into July,
No, yeah.
Yeah, July 7th's fine, just the drop deadline's July 24th. So we have to
24th.
get it to the elections, to the supervisor, so we would need it at least a day before that.
Okay.
Okay, so Fernando, are you good too?
I'm good.
Okay.
Mike's back.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Chad, could you clarify real quick if we have a project that is phased, and it phases over a 3-year period of 1 day, is that legit? Can we proceed in that fashion or not?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
I have a quick question on projects of, let's say, Black Swan event, hurricane, destruction, you have to repair it.
There's no
Does that
exception in
address it?
here.
No,
There's
there's
no
not?
exception for emergencies in here.
Oh, all right, well, that's
Yeah.
something to consider, I guess. Well, we can't.
Well,
what we do right
that's
now.
something, it's something for the voters to consider.
Right.
We can have,
So if there was so let's say there's a hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say there is, because usually, there is impacts, and something needs to be done as a result of an emergency. FEMA comes in, says, we have to fix, we have to take care of this drainage system, whatever. How's that going to work out?
Well, the way this amendment reads is that you can't expend $50 million constructing it.
Question on what set the 50 million? Who set the 50 million?
The petitioners committee.
And was that a number that was set?
They
Came up with
they
it.
came up
They
with it.
came up with it, okay.
Yeah.
So if there's a hurricane, or if there is a major flooding event, it doesn't have to be a hurricane, it can just be a major flooding event, and beyond, say, the 500-year storm, nothing can be done. Or it can be done, but it has to go through a political process.
It would have to be voted on by the electors to expend the 50, say it costs $100 million to spend that within 3 years.
Right.
Yes.
But if it costs $48 million, no election.
Or 52 million, then you have to have an election over $2 million.
Here's where I go with the same thing as that slogan referendum that the governor is passing about.
You mean government referenda from both sides we're getting here?
We're getting hit with two slogans here. But
Let me ask one question.
Can I just finish, May?
Just one moment.
He's in Portugal.
Hold on, Mike.
Are the residents aware to the degree objectively of what they're voting on? Because, there's one thing about basic services, water, sewer, flood protection, traffic, that putting that in the arena of politics, because let's face it, a referendum is a political process, and who's going to take the lead in saying, we have to do this?
So, two things.
So how's that going to work out?
This amendment only applies to stormwater and flood prevention projects.
Basic
Okay.
service.
Improvements.
So, for those types of improvements. So if, there was a hurricane that knocked down a building, it would not fall into this. But to your point, who's going to educate the voter? Well, number one, we will draft a proper ballot question that will, provide a fair and accurate description of what the amendment is. There'll be a ballot summary that will do the same. And then the village can provide some educational materials, but it's going to be incumbent upon the voter to read materials in the public realm relating to this ballot question to better educate.
Can
the
we have a
village will have
workshop?
a role, but
Can we have a workshop, Chad?
we
Or
can,
no?
I believe we can have town halls. If you give me 1 second, I'll just, but I believe we can. Hold on 1 second.
Can they retract or now?
So the petitioners committee can, with 8 out of 10 of them, have the choice to withdraw this from the ballot if they so choose. Remember, the way this process started was you needed 10 electors to sign a petition, which was the petitioners committee. 8 out of 10 of them may withdraw this at any time prior to the 15th day preceding the election. So they can choose to withdraw this if they'd like. The issue on, hold on one second. So the law that I was referring to before does not preclude a government from reporting on official actions of the government in a body in an accurate, fair, and impartial manner, posting factual information on our website or in printed materials, hosting and providing information at a public forum, that would be like a workshop, and providing factual information in response to an inquiry. So if what I've seen in the past is cities, like the city manager receives questions, he would post the question on the website and then post the factual response so everyone was aware of it, or providing information otherwise authorized or required by law. And also it does not, like I said before, prevent you guys as individuals from speaking your mind on the issue. So.
Is there a way to direct that education to the people who actually signed the petition? To ensure that they signed it under factual
Sure.
stipulations?
I think you can direct it to, yes, we do know who signed the petition. It's a public record. So we do have that information.
I just, what I see, look, everybody, the electorate has the absolute right to issue a referendum if they
Yes,
feel it.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%, that's what we're here for. My only concern on this, and I've said this publicly as well, is on unprecedented conditions or unforeseen conditions that are done in the moment here, but some, what will never go away, we cannot, flooding is not gonna go away. The unforgiving flooding waters are not gonna go away. So the question is, are we going to address, we cannot address that, that's fine, but can we address our charter in a way to protect it in the event that there is an emergency? I'm concerned about emergencies. I'm
This
concerned
doesn't
about
apply to
protecting
emergencies.
the public.
He said this doesn't apply to emergencies.
I do, it does not apply. Now,
Here's how it could apply.
One thing that we have not discussed is you as the council could put forth a charter amendment saying that you're allowed to spend any funds, notwithstanding any provision in the charter, you can spend any funds for an emergency or something to that effect. I'm just throwing that out there if it's something that you wanted to combat.
Well, I think life and limb are pretty important, right?
So
Here's how it could apply. Tell me if this is incorrect.
Hold on. Hey, Mike, we cut you off last time. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I just wanted to ask Chad, if we were in the middle of a project, and let's say we did the job contracted for $48 million, hurricane came in, destroyed 50% of it. We're repairing something. We're not starting a new project. So therefore, we could continue with that.
Depends.
Well,
Is this a repair?
I believe that the language says, actually, hold on. Estimated to cost 50 million or more has to go, so we would have to get a good faith estimate at that time. If for some reason it went over because of unforeseen circumstances, I guess we would have to evaluate it at that time. But it would seem reasonable that that's outside of your control, especially if you're under construction and you can't stop construction and to that effect. But that would really have to be looked at based upon the facts and circumstances of that issue.
So my question should there be countermeasures in the charter to allow for emergency repairs? It could be repairs, as Councilmember Brackett pretty well stated. It could be other things. We don't know. I have no idea how destructive a storm can be, or anything. The question is that going to trigger some mitigation in our charter to ensure that we're protected, we protect the residents? Because
Like I said, I think you could propose a ballot question. That would be a companion question. But clearly, the way it states right now, it does not address emergency circumstances.
I don't think
Okay.
it makes a distinction between repairs and any project.
It does not. It's just a project.
So for example, if there was a massive rupture in the system, the mitigation of that rupture is a project, arguably.
Yes, and but if it costs less than 50 million to repair, then it's not an issue. If it's more than 50 million to repair and it's going to be within 3 years, then you have to go to the voters.
Or an uncontrolled discharge into Biscayne Bay. How would that be addressed?
Again, it depends on the amount of, now again, I don't think that that's a discharge of Biscayne Bay is a stormwater flood prevention project. You said an unforeseen discharge.
Or, but through a flooding.
I mean,
we
you
sit here
could
and
keep on,
evaluate
yeah,
every
I mean,
possible scenario.
it may be that you guys want to come up with a companion question, and that's something we can talk about. If it's something that you want to do seriously, then I would suggest that we talk about it maybe sooner than later to give us time to
Yeah, we should
draft.
do that.
And again, if you can always speak to the petitioners committee. We know the 10 of them. If 8 of them want to withdraw, then this would go away also.
Well, like I said, this is not,
Yeah.
again, I
I'm
want
just
to
saying, just to
reemphasize the
rethink
fact
it,
that
or-
everybody has a right to put a referendum there, and that's our God-given right. That's beautiful. That's great. I'm just looking for, unintended consequences, direct impacts to the residents that may or may not feel, or they may not know. There's people out there that don't know what.
Well, we don't even know.
Right, if
we don't even know.
then
I mean,
there's-
so
somebody's just gonna end up with
Yeah,
a monkey in their back.
I think it's incumbent on the village to educate the voter and provide this information
Yes.
to the voter.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
One thing's clear. I don't know whether $50 million was arbitrary or based on an assumption of what something else might cost versus something else might cost. There's no project that we're going to do for stormwater that's not going to be $50 million.
I know, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
It's the nature of the
The
beast.
question is, are you going to do that project within 3 years or longer?
So whether you do something as a matter of right also begs the question of whether it's a good idea. We'll talk more.
Yep, we shall talk more. Okay.
Was the date determined, or?
No, I think the mayor, I don't want to, overstep. My understanding was that the council said both days, the 30th or July 7th may work, but he was kind of deferring to let maybe you
Yes.
figure out with the council.
To make sure.
No, well, the July 7th, the location hasn't been determined, but if there's going to be,
We would have to call a
Okay,
special.
let's do the June 30th. We know where we're going to be and,
Mike is just back June 30.
oh,
wait, let me turn the volume up, sorry.
I would prefer the 7th if possible.
you see, that's why we defer. Okay,
We all go to Portugal.
No, he's coming back and he's leaving.
let's double check and make sure that everybody can be at the July
July
7th.
7th and the location.
Yeah.
Well, the location should be here.
Right, so-
And I know that there's a strategic workshop, but we'll have to just pick the time and go back and forth or whatever we end up doing.
Okay, let's work on that.
Thank you.
Okay, I have appointments. Village Athletic Advisory Board, got great resumes. Thank you, everybody. I have two people, Manolo Suida and Tony Gambrizio, to the athletic board, both long-term Key Biscayne residents, very much involved in athletics, have been coaches, and so I think those two will be very good. And we had an opening on the Sustainability Advisory Board, and I'm going to name Carlos Mendia who is also the president of the condo association. So that should be a good fit for seeing if we can get something done on the condo side.
Good point.
Consensus of council for the 3 appointments?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. The strategic planning session, we've identified that as July 7th. Everybody's good to go.
I have one minor discussion item, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, hold on a second. We had set a council meeting on November 10th, but the election's going to be on November 3rd, so more than likely the 10th or 11th will be the swearing in. So I want to put that on everyone's radar so that you plan accordingly and that you're here. That's all I had. Anything else?
Yes, there's another item for Councilmember Vasquez. It's Key Biscayne and Miami Regional Growth Impacts, Airport Expansion, and the Port.
Yeah, I'm going to be brief on this one, but I think it's important that everybody is aware that the airport right now is undergoing a significant capital improvement, expansion, modernization, expansion of terminals. Currently, we're carrying about 52 million passengers in 2025, and they're going to increase it to 77 million passengers. I know we've had issues in the past about flight paths coming in through the Key, through the north part of the Key. I don't know what they're planning. I attended so far I've been at 2 aviation and seaport county meetings, and it's pretty intense. I mean, and not only that, the port is going to increase to 17 million cruise passengers by 2050. These are things that obviously we don't have a say. What we do have on specific FAA tracks, flight tracks, or how the overall economic engine of Miami-Dade County is. We have a say, but very minimal. But I think we should have at least some advocacy and a presence, because these things, before we know it, we're going to see more ships in the horizon. We're going to see more flights coming up, and I think it's important that our residents know about it. It's not just the causeway. These are significant impacts. Like I said, everybody's talking about the big dig, but nobody's talking about the big hub. And Miami is going to be a big hub. And what measures are we going to take as a community to protect the value and integrity of Key Biscayne? I think we're moving away from being a standard Miami into something much bigger, and we're right there. So I want to ask the manager: do we currently have a presence also for Biscayne Bay? I know I've also attended the Biscayne Bay. I think they also have a council, a committee. I don't see us there. I don't see us having presence in these discussions. Are we there? Are we involved? Do we have a presence? Do we have a voice?
On the airport board or the?
Anywhere where there are discussions, not just, I want to be proactive. I wish Key Biscayne would be involved and participate in the discussion and be a voice for the residents. I don't see that. And I'm just asking, do we have a presence currently?
A presence are you asking at the airport and the?
Yeah, I mean, or anywhere where they meet, should we? I know it's
Regional Planning Council advocates for all of these issues, and we're represented there.
Yeah, but I think we should be actively more involved. Before we know it, we're going to have more planes flying over our heads, more ships on the horizon.
We do have I appointed someone to be on the that flight path.
Oh, great.
So yes, we do have in that case, and through your commissioner, Raquel Regalado, you also have access to all that, and I try to attend as many of these things as I possibly can. whether it's the Miami-Dade League of Cities or it's the Transportation Committee of the Chamber or so, but
I as well, and I think it's important that we have as much presence as we can because this growth is staggering, and we are already complaining about traffic and events that are happening. Imagine adding another 22 million passengers and folks that are coming in. They're going to, we have to have a way of mitigating this or managing it in a proactive way.
well, the port's going to run into another problem. They won't have any fuel, but that's a different story for a different day.
And
All
I'm
right.
concerned also about the bay, and there are things that I think we should up the ante a little more on that.
City of Key West is having the same conversation.
And I think
Great.
that's why we also have a very proactive sustainability advisory board that will get into a lot of these issues, so.
And Mr. Mayor, and I think you do realize that they were going to offer us a position for the mayor to be on the Biscayne Bay Commission. Unfortunately, he's terming out this May, so we could probably, or this November, so perhaps whomever the
next
follow-on
council,
mayor is, and that's who they look
next
for. They
mayor.
want mayors to be on that, so there will be a position for that. I could always reach out to them. We know the board extremely well, and maybe they'll hold that position for us.
I want to
going forward.
encourage, I really want to encourage more presence, more visibility, that they see Key Biscayne, and we don't need to be in, obviously we are for growth, we're for healthy growth and responsible growth, and we want to make sure that we mitigate any impacts that directly or indirectly result out of this massive expansion.
Okay. Mr. Manager, you got any more things? I think we've covered
I have one
all
more
of
thing.
ours.
Yeah, I think we have one more thing that we need to talk about, and that is the way ahead, the delivery method for the Zone 1 stormwater project. I'd like to bring forward Chris and Mike. Quick summary, I'll let them go into the detail. Our recommendation is to move forward with the entire zone for the overall design, and then be able to phase each one of the wells as we would need to do going forward, step by step. So that would be our recommendation. We've evaluated different delivery methods. We've come down to the best either being a traditional design build or a progressive design build. And what I wanted them to do is give you just kind of an overview of what a progressive design build would be. And plus, there's also a summary in your packet as well if you want to follow along. So again, full design for the entire zone, able to be phased well by well by well, and then also either a full traditional design build or a progressive design build, as they'll outline to you.
So on the progressive design build, what are you recommending the next steps would be?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Mike Huda, pleasure to be here again. So progressive design build is similar, obviously, with design build where you have one contract with a contractor that has the engineer in that contract. The difference being it's basically a two-stage contract where the design portion is fee-based, and then at a certain point, usually it's between 60 to 90% design, you can negotiate a GMP max, and that way the contractor is already working with the engineer, and you have a better idea of what that cost is going to be. It also allows for some, what we would call off-ramps, where at 30% you have a new cost estimate, at 60% you have a new cost estimate. You can either modify the design, modify the scope, or decide you don't want to pursue with this contractor. You can take what they've done and go towards a design bid build, or you can have them finish the design, then have an off-ramp and just competitively bid that design. So it gives a little bit more flexibility for the client, for the owners, and it also allows for a little bit of a faster process for moving things forward. The design build, traditional one, would require a design criteria package first, a more thorough design criteria package, because that design builder is going, basically it's going to, you're going to want, you don't have that off-ramp, so they're going to give you that GMP up front, and there will be many more unknowns, so you're going to have a lot more risk, or you're going to have an inflated cost at that point. But we can do a design criteria package to limit those risks ahead of time, bring that maybe a little bit more further along with the design, do more further investigating with the subsurface, siting and constructability of these wells. We should have the CCTV bid pretty much ready to go shortly. I think it's in procurement right now. I was told we should have that draft back tomorrow, and then that should be moving forward for an August decision by council.
Okay, I had a question. Some folks were out there asking about CMR, Construction Manager Risk. What's your opinion on that?
The CMAR is similar in the sense that you have a engineer doing the design, you have a contractor on board that is working with that engineer. The difference is you'd have separate contracts. So you'd have a contract with the contractor and a contract with the engineer. The engineer reports directly to the village, whereas in the design build, the engineer works with the contractor with the contractor. CMAR is great in the sense that they use it a lot, I should say, in various parts of the state. Now, it was a recommendation because you can keep your engineer. Previously, when we were working with AECOM, you could keep them with one contract. At this point, because there isn't technically an engineer on board right now, it may extend the process. You're going to have two contracts, so it makes that a little bit more difficult. Usually, you don't bring the CMAR on board until after 30%, so it's a little bit different structurally.
So I guess what I'm hearing you say, correct me if I'm wrong, if we decided to entertain the CMAR delivery method, that would mean the GIT would design it to 30%? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily. It would go out to bid
An
for.
engineer firm would design.
An engineering
Yes,
firm.
you'd go out to bid for an engineering firm.
Okay, so
and
what's the
then-
difference between that and progressive design build then?
Yeah, because then you would have two separate contracts. You'd have one with the engineer directly, and you would have
Okay.
one with the CMAR that you would come in at 30% to 60%. Whereas progressive design build, you'd go right at 0%. You would have that one contract with the contractor and the engineer all in one contract.
Yeah.
You'd be hiring a team and still be able to maintain control of the engineer, albeit through the contractor, but also be able to control the contractor through each step of the process from 30, 60, and 90% until we hit guaranteed maximum price.
So the progressive, okay. The progressive design build then would kind of have the engineer and the contractor working together?
Correct.
And then if the contractor and the engineer cannot agree to a price, then there is the off-ramp for the engineer, and then you capture the plans, and then you go out standard bid build?
Well, really, it's us agreeing to the cost.
If we don't.
That's not if the contractor and the engineer don't agree on the price, and that would be if
Or it's
the,
us, I'm sorry.
yeah,
yeah.
the village
But the
doesn't agree
engineer
with
would be
the
advised.
price and the scope and.
But I thought the engineer would also have a venue with the client, directly with us.
Well, we would have that contract with that team, so we would assume that the engineer would be intimately involved and with the village as well. But their contract would be directly with the contractor, not with the village. So in either way, it would be a qualifications-based contract. So it does meet CCNA from all of our reviews and from what I've discussed with other contractors, municipalities, some of my coworkers that have done these type of projects throughout the state. Obviously with the progressive design build or the CMAR, you're going to be doing a negotiated construction price. So that part does come a little bit later. The question before was, does that meet with federal funding requirements to have competitive pricing? From what I've researched, that still has not been a problem. There's been many projects that do progressive design build or CMARs and have federal funding. They consider it being competitive pricing because you have negotiated prices, and since you're competing for that qualifications bid in the beginning.
And if I'd like to add to you, I mean, I know many of you all have said it, I know you've said it in particular, council member, is we don't know what the real price is until we get a contractor's bid, right? And that's really when the price really tells you about it. So having both of them work together where we have consistent reviews over time, where the contractor can tell the engineer, yes, great design, however, we're out on the ground right now looking at this, and we believe you need to look at whatever, X, Y, Z, take in consideration, bring it to 30%. We review the design with them, get an initial cost estimate, again, do it at 60%, 90%. When do we do GMP, or at 60 or 90?
What's that?
When do we do GMP, or 60 or 90?
It's usually between 60 and 90.
Okay.
Or 60 or 90, you can do it. You determine
Yeah,
when you want to
progressive.
do that GMP.
Yeah, so we'll have a number of design hacks, reviews, being able to go through, understanding cost estimates, so that uncertainty that we have, we don't know the cost until we get the proposals back, can be addressed up front.
I thought with GMP, it would tend to be a higher price because it is a guaranteed price, and so they're taking on the risk. Is that right?
Yes, but potentially. I mean, you can't say yes, can't say no, but the fact that they're working with us throughout and we're addressing risks by having conversations and understanding the design, the two are working together. Instead of just taking a design as it is, which is what happens in a CMAR, they're working with that engineer through,
So they're doing value engineering or whatever it is as they go?
step by step, as you go through. Correct.
Question, what are the diameter of these wells, and where are they gonna be placed? And how
We
much
don't-
are you
we're not-
pumping to? And how deep are you gonna go?
Go ahead.
You have the technical specs on that?
Mr. Mayor, we'll be happy to talk with them afterwards if you'd like to.
Pardon me?
The staff will be happy to talk with you afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
Mike? You want to jump in here? That's what happens when you go on vacation.
Yeah, for sure. I am interested in getting the project designed to complete and looking at the ability to phase it. I'm not completely sure how I would proceed with the construction side yet, but I think it's a good idea to move forward with the complete design and have the ability to phase the construction.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this presentation isn't meant for us to make any decision, so it's just kind of giving us a preview of, what decision forks are going to be going forward, right?
We, depending on how quickly we want to move forward on this project, if you're able to, provide us some guidance at this point. If not, we can hold tight and come back and have that conversation. But again, we were hoping to put this out for bid sooner than later. We don't have a specific timeline on it, but depending on the timeline that the council would like, at some point we will have to make a decision on this in order to move forward.
Yeah.
Meantime, design is proceeding, right?
No, it's not.
It's not.
No.
Because we're.
What's proceeding is going out and doing the CCTV and some survey work, but not the design itself, because that's what we're waiting to determine.
We're waiting to see who's going to be the designer.
No, we're waiting for the delivery method on what choice, whether we're going to do design bid build, which I think we've ruled out, traditional design build, or progressive design build.
And progressive design build has become an option because much of the risk has been mitigated from the work that's already been done by AECOM?
Mike?
Why haven't we spoken about progressive design build in the past? Why is it becoming an option now?
So
What's the difference?
it has been an option for a while. It's been around for quite a while.
Not one that we've discussed, though, actively.
Not so much. Back, I think it was 2024. It was before I came on with Black and Beach.
Well, let me, so at the point when we did begin it, because this was before he was here, so I don't want to put him in a situation where he can't talk about it. We were too far beyond in the design in order to bring in a progressive design build at that point. CMAR was an option because that's something where you pass the design over, but we were too far beyond in order to do a progressive design build. Because what you want to do is you want to make sure you get that contractor on as early as possible so that you have those discussions on potential risk, potential unforeseen, any considerations that the experience of the contractor can add into an engineer design, and so that we can tailor to the project we want to do.
I mean, to me, the premise has always been to move forward with the project. we decided to select a different engineer, but I don't think we ever said that we would not continue. Remind me if we ever spoke about that. I don't think we ever did. So I mean, unless council feels different, I sense that we should continue. With the options now on the table, we have a project. They're proposing to move forward with it. They have an instrument to deliver it. I don't know why.
If the design is not going to proceed without this decision, I think we need to make a decision.
Well, look, and also, I don't want to be unfair. Obviously, we're bringing to this you at 9:15, and only talking about it for 15 minutes. What we can do is, if we do agree that we want to do a design build, what we can do, and I know Mike's already done this, Chris has already done this, we can put together a comparison, pros and cons, all that stuff, and if you want us to bring it to you either 30th or the 7th, if we can wait that long, then we will do that. In fact, we'll give it to you in advance so you can study it, understand the difference between the two, talk the pros and cons, not talk to them, but to yourself or whomever else, your husband or wife, if you want to. And then we can make a decision either the 30th or the 7th, whenever you think is appropriate, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I was not ready to make that decision.
I didn't think you
Didn't even know we were approaching that decision
I
tonight.
thought we needed to wait for the CCTV to come back to really have an idea where we were going, not what we were doing, but what we were up against.
Yeah, yes, but the CCTV, once it's done, it's going to be probably done before we put the other project out to bid. So I'm not for bid before we select who's going to do that project. So I would imagine it's going to take, about maybe 2 months for that CCTV, Chris?
Yeah, at least 2 months, yeah,
so
approximately.
They would be in parallel. They would probably come together about the same time.
I mean, it occurs to me that we don't really understand fully what either of these options mean, or at least the difference or the delta between them.
And that's what I'm hearing, definitely.
Okay, so we don't have to make that decision today, but I definitely think either we get a brief or we have a full understanding of what the pros and cons are for each. Because my understanding is I'm not quite sure why progressive design build is coming up now as a real conversation, as opposed to early on when we were talking about AECOM years ago.
No, for the reason I told you, we were.
No, I got it.
Beyond.
Now I got it.
Yeah, right.
But
Wasn't there also some issue with funding? You couldn't get federal funding and
that was the one that we're concerned with CMAR.
CMAR, right, okay.
And I remember when
And
we had
that's-
the discussion around CMAR, it was a much more detailed dive into each process, each procedure, let's call it, and we were fully understanding what it was that we wanted to do. This is not.
And we can do something similar. We'll give you a summary of it, a kind of an analysis, and then if the council members would like to come talk to us individually before the mayor sets a time to make a decision, then we can obviously do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Mike?
Can I request that we do, if we make that decision, we do it July 7th, not June 30th?
You're loading up my July 7th, aren't you?
No.
It's just another council
Just trying to
meeting.
avoid.
Mike just wants to enjoy his vacation.
I'm sure we can find ways to accommodate, yes.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Want a motion?
Yeah, maybe what I'm thinking here is, make sure that then we get something on June 30th or before.
You'll have it before, Mr.
And then if, we might have a chance to discuss it on June 30th. If we do, fine. If not, then we push it on. And I want to be convinced that we're doing the right thing here and we're just not,
Yeah.
moving because we made the decision, but let's
No,
make
and then,
sure that we're in the right direction.
I agree, but I would expect that we would have a better understanding. I think we're on the same page.
Yes.
I just sense that, stalling it, I don't think that's an option. We just have to understand exactly what we're proposing.
Oh, believe me, I'm not interested in stalling.
No, I know.
We're not by
I
any
know,
means
I know.
anything stalling. So
So-
we'll put together that
Yeah, please put
analysis,
a-
Mayor.
a-
We'll get it out to you as
com-
quickly as possible.
At this point, yeah, we don't know, so.
Mr. Mayor, one thing.
Yes.
Happy birthday to Ed London.
Oh, wow.
That's today?
No wonder he's not here.
Is today the day? Come on.
That's right, right?
I think it's today.
We miss you, Ed.
I'm sure he doesn't miss us. All right.
And one last thing, Mr. Mayor, you got a lot of goodies on your desk.
Yes.
You got the hacky sack, you got a whole, I'm not sure what this purple thing is, but you got it anyway.
An ice pack.
Ice pack, okay.
Hey,
And
Mike,
then
I got yours
We're
here.
very proud of is
Traveling
also
ice pack.
our community programs and events summary as well, so. Good stuff from the staff.
I got yours for you, Mike.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.